Why aren't you listening to me? Doesn't anybody ever listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Listen to me? Blame yourselves for this fucking word salad that I just spit all over the goddamn plate. This is all your fault. You and I like to. That's it. I work under the cover of darkness because I don't need the rest of society to look in my eyes and know that is a bad person. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy podcast, folks. This show's a crapshoot. Right now, I'm shaking dice in my hand and hoping not to come up with a fucking 7 because Lily's computer is on the fritz right now. It's kind of back and forth. You can say no, it's not, but it is. We've stopped because last week we found out there's a problem with the microphone vagina. All right, whatever you plug in the microphone to, is that a port? What's it called? All right, microphone vagina. So we found out there's a problem with that last week, and Lily's like, "Oh man, I need a new laptop." And in my head, I'm just like, well, I wish I hadn't bought myself a laptop a couple weeks ago because then I would get one for the show. And she's like, nah, don't worry about it. I got it taken care of. And then I came in today, and same laptop is here with same problem. I don't know if it has the same problem. We're going to find out. But that's why I'm saying it's a crapshoot, folks. This show might wind up with weird noises in it. This is the haunted show. Let's call it that. We'll go ahead and say this is the haunted show. I have no idea if there's going to be any sort of crazy interruptions or weird noises. And I'm actually starting a little late, too. I was supposed to start much earlier than this. It's almost 6 o'clock p.m. on a Wednesday. And I have to stop at 7. Not really stop. I'm going to stop and make a phone call. All right, because there's a guy. Look, I don't know why I'm explaining all this to you. Nobody cares. Actually, I do know why I'm explaining this to you, because prepare yourselves, folks. I got nothing this week. I got nothing. All right? The only thing going on in my real life is something that I can't exactly bring to the microphone, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to try to stitch together whatever the fuck I can out of whatever experience that I can bring to the table right now. I have no idea. We'll see. But yeah, so real life's not a good issue right now. Not a good topic. So, although I'll tell you this, why not? I finished a writing assignment this week, part of one. I have a writing assignment, and it's a 2-sided writing assignment. And the first one, I killed it. I think I did good. I don't know. I received an email telling me that it was okay and acceptable. Yeah, I got feedback. So they said there's going to be very little changes, which is good. So I was excited about that. So which seems weird because I'll tell you something, folks. There was a all right. Look, I can't. It's not my project, so I can't tell you all about it. But I'll tell you, they wrote me and they're like, hey, chapters, whatever you're writing, should be between like 2,500 and 3,000 words. And that seemed daunting to me. I'll be honest with you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that seems like a lot. But well, I'll just write and see what happens. Yes, 4,800 words later. I had a completed thing to send to the people, the overlords, the people in charge of this thing. And I went, and in my head, I talked to people, and they were like, well, what do you think? And I go, I think they're going to hack the shit out of it, which is fine. Because I will tell you, as a writer, look, I guess as a writer, I'm kind of the same way I am as a talker, but not really. I'm still trying to marry my talking with my writing. Because when I talk, I express myself much differently than I do when I'm writing. Because when I write, This is going to sound pretentious and fucking ridiculous, and fine, throw something at your goddamn ears, because that's where I live, in your ears, with your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds jammed in there. Throw something at yourself. That's right. You won't punish me. You can't hit me. You know what? Here, turn your radios on. I'll appear right there. That's David Lee Roth. By the way, I went to David Lee Roth's website. Here's the thing. All right, Van Halen supposedly is putting out a new album. I say supposedly because who the fuck knows? There are these old drunks who I have no idea what they're doing with their time. It's like Eddie is right. He literally plays every instrument and then tells the guys what they're going to do when they go on the road. Because Eddie is this maniacal control freak guy, and also supremely talented. And the problem is, when he crawled into the bottom of a goddamn, Jack Daniels bottle. I don't know if Jack was his drink. He was a beer. I know he was a beer dude. He was never photographed without a fucking beer and a cigarette. Jesus Christ. Eddie Van Halen smoked so much they had to cut off part of his tongue. Still smokes. Apparently, I'm married to Eddie Van Halen. Nobody learns their fucking lesson. How much cancer do you need to teach you a motherfucking lesson? You're in a band and you sing backup vocals and they took your tongue. Cancer came for your tongue and took part of it, and yet you continue to taunt it with cigarettes. God damn it, Eddie, why are you doing this to me? This is why I went and saw them 3 times in the reunion tour, because I'm like, he's going to fucking drop dead. I mean, sure, he dried out, and I was all excited. He was sober, and it was really cool. But I'm like, how long is that going to last, really? I mean, he's a rock star. He's a fucking rock star. Let's put it this way. He was a rock star who was a multi-millionaire making tons of money on top of the fucking world. And on top of all that, folks, he was fucking Valerie Bertinelli every night. And pissed it all away, let it all go because you had to drink and smoke. Jesus Christ. How powerful are alcohol and cigarettes that you stop fucking Valerie Bertinelli to turn to Marlboro? Jesus God, I've seen the cowboy. He's attractive, but he's no fucking Valerie Bertinelli. Fucking Eddie, put the cigarettes down and lock the liquor cabinet and bury your face in Valerie Bertinelli for a while. Jesus Christ. You're not going to get tongue cancer from that, friend. What?
What if he did?
Oh, you blame her? That was her? Oh. Yeah, you know what? I guess you're coming out strongly in favor of Eddie Van Halen and his moves. All right, that's fine. Perhaps. You know what? What if he did? Honestly, I got to be honest. Have you seen Valerie Bertinelli? I wouldn't care. Fuck that. I would live down there until my face was gone. It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't bother me in the fucking least. She could have like an old cartoony sign with like stuck in the bed with an arrow that said cancer this way. And yep, let's go. I'm going to go cancer spelunking. I could not care less. Let's do this. Yeah, seriously, I would just, you know what I would do? I would, just once he's rich. Fucking Eddie Van Halen is rich, okay? If he knew that Valerie Bertinelli's vagina was giving him cancer, then when you were finished, you could just roll over and just have a huge barrel of stem cells on the side of the bed and just dive in it and fucking soak in it for a little while and you're fine. There you go. Stem cells, you just go ahead and submerge yourself in a stem cell. I would fill the hot tub. Fuck that. I would fill the hot tub with human soup, fucking stem cells, and just dive in and get fucking completely healed. That's like it'd be like the Lazarus Pit. Like Ra's al Ghul had it in the fucking Batman comics. He had the Lazarus Pit to fucking rejuvenate himself. Eddie Van Halen's rich. He can build a Lazarus Pit. Who cares if Valerie Bertinelli's vagina is giving him cancer? Dive into the fucking backyard Lazarus Pit and be ready for tomorrow. Wow. All right. How the fuck did I spin into Eddie? Oh, because I went to because there's supposedly they have a new album coming out. So, and I will tell you this, for a bunch of old junkies or old drunk guys, they keep a lid on information, boy. I mean, it's like nothing leaks out, nothing at all. You know, so I went online looking for any hint or glint of information about the album, and I couldn't find much. Everybody seems to think it's coming out in November, and then they're supposedly they're headlining a tour in Australia, like a show in Australia. So that would mean the album would be out by then, which is again in November. So I don't know. So I went to David Lee Roth's website because Dave is not afraid of talking. All right. Before Van Halen got back together, David, that's all he did was fucking yammer, and he was a cock. I mean, that's Dave's his job. I mean, if you heard his radio show, again, he's like me. Literally, all he does is, although he's intensely more interesting, and he has a lot more life experience to draw from. Believe me, I think David Lee Roth has had spiders in his pants, but he never had to tell you a fucking 15-minute story about it. That guy lived in the jungle forever. He had a group called the Jungle Studs, and they go off climbing mountains together when they weren't on tour. I mean, what a dude. You know what? Travolta has to get bumped down to number 2. David Lee Roth has like the greatest fucking life. That was the life I wish I could have led. Just banging chicks all over the fucking world and climbing mountains. God damn it, who wouldn't want to do that? I have a picture of David Lee Roth that is honestly like, it's what the first time I ever saw it in my head, I was like, oh, that's what a man should look like. Like if I had 3 wishes, like if a genie showed up, I would want to look like this picture. Like literally, I would say, do what you can to make me look like this picture. What are you saying? You get something to say? You're just chewing? That's the weirdest chewing I've ever seen. Oh, you got a Werther in your mouth. All right. She's got a mouthful of Werthers. Because we're old, we enjoy hard candies. But there's this picture of Dave, and it's just, I mean, it's crazy. Because, all right, look. Dave was fucking gorgeous back then. I mean, now he looks crazy weird. He looks like a Muppet. But still, back then, but this picture is of him backstage, and it's like a candid photo where it's like, and he's got this look on his face like, what are you doing here? But kind of like, but all right, it's a what are you doing here? But yeah, come on in. It's that look, and it's just a full body shot from the side, and he's like he's wearing his fucking stage pants, and he's putting on a wife beater, but his abs are out like fucking his 8-pack or whatever, and just all cock in his fucking like crazy tight pants, and then it's literally like Dave's head with his hair completely blown out, abs and a bulge. That's all it is. But you're just looking at it and you're like, oh, that's not fair. It looks like an alien. I want to look like that, goddammit. And then I ate a box of ho-hos. Because again, I was a child. But I still have that goddamn picture. Like, it's terrible. Awful. 44-year-old man. All right, so So Dave never was shy about talking and saying shit and stuff like that and telling you about what was going to happen or what wasn't going to happen, and shitting on Eddie and being mean. But then when he rejoined the band, Dave realized, hey, I got to shut the fuck up. So he did, shockingly, he did when he rejoined with Van Halen, because that was one of the reasons they hated him. Like when they were in the band together, he would give those fucking interviews and talk about, yeah, I went out jogging today, but unfortunately the ice cubes keep falling out of my glass. Ha ha, Bozy bop. There's something stupid. And meanwhile, Eddie and Alex, the geniuses, are back in the lab creating incredible music for Dave to come in and lay one vocal track over and to go climb a goddamn mountain. So they fucking hated him. They resented him because he was the one who got all the press, and that he was resenting them. So he went solo and he did that 4-song EP. Whatever. Why am I telling you the history of Van Halen? Nobody cares. But the bottom line is, so Dave won't talk anymore. And I'm like, God damn, that's the guy you want. He was the guy who gave him all the info. Then when they toured last time, he never said anything. And so now, then you go to his website, and he stopped posting any narrative, and it was all just photos, backstage photos of the last tour, and photos of being on the road, and again, Jungle Stud pictures. But again, never saying anything. So then I went to his website. I'm like, well, fuck, maybe Dave let something slip on his website. I went to his website. You know what it is? It's just a splash page, and all it says is, get ready. That's the way you do it, folks. That's the fucking way you do it. Get ready. God damn it. Why am I not in Van Halen? Because I'm not. Actually, there's probably a much more complicated answer than because I'm not. I think there's probably a much more because I can't play an instrument, because I'm much younger than them, because I didn't live in Los Angeles. There's a lot of reasons why I'm not in Van Halen. Get ready. What did I start out talking about here? I talked about... Oh yeah. So I told people I thought it was going to get hacked up, and it turns out that it's not, and so that's good news. But now I have another part of the writing assignment due, and I've hit a snag, folks. I've got to be honest with you. I'm trying to figure it out, but hopefully I can make it happen. We'll see. So yeah, it's late. I was supposed to start the show early, and I got nothing. I can't. There's nothing to tell you, folks. I don't know. I got. Literally, your tweakedaudio.com/40 earbuds will echo with the sounds of nothing this week, because I have no. No spider tried to eat me. You heard that laugh there, folks? That was we had to stop at that laugh because I hit a head wall, and then again the crapshoot reared its ugly head and the computer wasn't working. It was going back and forth. Why are you making a face? Why don't you want me to tell people that? Because it's interesting to me, because it's happening. You know why? Because I don't have anything else to fucking talk about, so I talk about what's happening in the moment. Is that a problem? Well, tell me, what do you think it reflects poorly on you that the fucking computer is fucking up?
No, because we stopped down.
Yes.
We figured out where we were, where you were going, and then you came back in and didn't go there.
Yeah, because I can't just go there. I mean, I think you'd be used to it by now in 4 years that's I talk about what just happened or what's happening at that moment. Yeah. But apparently it bothers the shit out of you this week. What is it? Because does it again? You guys can get me at MikeandMikeShowComedy.com. You guys. That's where we're at this week, folks. Good, I'm glad. That's good news. So you can see, folks, I'm not the only one who wants to get the fuck out of here.
I was ready to hear the story, and then it was like you went back to that. I was like, okay.
Well, because to me that's interesting. It's like the computer just keeps stopping, and it's like if it keeps stopping, I got to stop, and it's like I can't get any fucking momentum or traction anyway because I talk downhill, and if I'm talking downhill and the computer stops, then we got to fucking scrap it and retake everything. I'm not trying to piss you off. You know what I mean? It's just that's what. Oh, don't tell me I wasn't, because you sat there with a puss on your face and stared straight ahead.
Fuck, it broke again, and now I have to, and then it was just, I just was ready to hear funny.
Yeah, so is everybody else. I got news for you. You're all going to be fucking disappointed.
Will someone buy me an AC?
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, it's warm. And you turn the fan on you. I don't need the fan on me. I'm fine. Yeah, it's because that's a tiny-ass fan. I don't know why you got that fan. That's one of those weird Ellen DeGeneres handheld fucking blower fans. Get a fan. Yeah, that's true. Because we're debating. We're sitting here. We're like, and I understand how you're pissed because she's like, I got to buy a computer. And it's like, so we're trying to figure out how we can do that because we got to do it. I mean, it has to be done. She needs one, and I got to do this fucking show. But then I offer to bring my new computer over, and she doesn't want to do it because she doesn't know where anything is placed on the computer. And I get that because I don't want to sleep in anybody else's fucking bed either. All right, I understand that completely. Yeah, true. Because you do the burlesque podcast, and then you've got, and I mean, but I'll tell you this, folks. If you saw her computer, you wouldn't even think twice. You probably would just like scream and throw it out the window because her desktop, it is retarded. Like, all right, I look at your desktop. You may have, at the most, maybe you've got like 15 icons up there, but you know what they are 20 icons. At my house, I'm constantly, I'm not, and this is not a joke. I'm going to say probably like 10 times a day whenever I'm sitting at the computer, I always hit arrange by date modified. Like it's just an ADD thing that I wind up doing, and I arrange all my icons. She doesn't arrange her icons, but she knows where they all are. And she has, I'm going to venture to say, and this is just a guess, and I'm not, you might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. She has to have at least 140 icons on her desktop. Got to be more, maybe even more than that, because she keeps them small, like really shrinky-dinked, and they're all in these weird clusters, and she knows what each cluster is. Like it's like the universe. Like she has the Milky Way of icons on her goddamn computer, and she knows where all of it goes. And I look at it, and I have no idea. I got no clue. I don't, because in my computer I have a desk, the toolbar, and I know where all that shit is. And then I got the stuff in folders. I know where everything is, but. And the thing is, she knows where everything is. When you look at her computer, it looks like an eye chart, like an eye test, where you're trying to figure out where the fuck everything goes. And again, I'm not joking. It looks like deep space because there's a cluster over here, and then there's Orion over here, and it's all burlesque shit. And so I don't know how the fuck she does it. And then now she's got an ice pack on it because it's overheating. Folks, this show is a whiff. This show is a goddamn whiff. I've described the contents of her computer for like 4 minutes. The best you're going to get is that Vreli Bertinelli's vagina causes cancer, and you should keep a stem cell full of hot tubs if you're fucking her. That's it. It's all downhill after that, motherfucker. I can't help you. Holy God. Remember when we talked about where I'm like, hey, you should just go into a story and then just get the fuck out? Maybe this is the week to do that. Fuck a ramp up. I got nothing for the ramp up. I need a job, I'll tell you that. Oh, man, do I need a fucking job. Oh, Christ. Because I told you I wrote these things. Oh, that's what I was talking about writing. I was talking about writing the thing. So, because I said, before I get into Eddie Van Halen and his cancerous wife, former wife, ex-wife. All right. But still hot, crazy hot, like weird, like frozen in time hot. Like she looks like, and again, she lost weight because she's on that, what is she? She's Jenny Craig, right? She's Jenny Craig, and the other girl is Weight Watchers now, Jennifer Hudson. I see her all the time. And I don't. And then they have those people on the dude. Weight Watchers is horrible. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I had a friend who did it, and he lost a ton of weight on Weight Watchers. But like, I can't bring myself to do it because it's, be a man and eat what you're supposed to eat and work out and then do that. And I'm doing that now and working out, and I'll be. It's almost September 1st. Almost time for I go to the gym and weigh in. But I haven't started like working out and stuff. What are you laughing at? Why are you? You must be reading something else because none of this is fucking funny.
There's where I was and then started talking about
Well, that's how the show works. Where have you been? Do you not listen to any of it? Honestly, I swear to God. Do you not understand how it works? I sit here and talk until a butterfly flies by, and then I talk about that for fucking 5 minutes. And then I talk about that until I hear footsteps in the hallway, and we talk about that for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And then footsteps in the hallway remind me of a story from when I was a little kid. And then I tell that for a half hour, and then we all go home. Everybody's fucking happy. That's how you get there. It's just circuitous. I don't have a fucking thing of bullet points. I should just do that. Next time I'll come in, I'll have a fucking prepared script, and I'll be like an anchor man, and I'll just fucking read from it. That's what people want. People want repetition. People want everything in a nice little box. I don't have a box. I got a fucking a bucket with a hole in it, and it's like the whole show is trying to fill the bucket as the fucking water rolls out of the hole. And then finally in 2 hours, I go, you know what? I'm actually fine with an empty bucket. Because that's it. I got nothing else to fill it with. And some weeks I've done 2.5 hour, 3 hour shows, and it seems like an hour. This week, man, it's going to be an hour show that seems like motherfucking 3. It just is. Because I'm sitting, I don't know where to go. I didn't do anything this week that I can tell you about. I'm worried about the fucking computer changing, and I don't know what the fuck's going to happen there. If it's going to freeze up, and I'm pissing you off. Yeah, all right. See, this is the moment where because people, you're here, and then people are always like, I don't know why she's there, like laughing at everything that he says. This is why she's here, all right? See, because I fucking need her here. I got to talk to her about this kind of stuff. If I was in an empty room talking like this, oh, Jesus Christ, they might as well just have a doctor peek in on me every few minutes. If I was in an empty fucking room doing this, come on. But yes, I've taken it under advisement, folks. I understand what you're saying. Everybody who writes me is like, you should do this. Yes, I should. You're absolutely right. So as a writer, which I was saying earlier, and again, it sounds pretentious and weird, and I apologize, but I've always been a craftsman, okay, and a wordsmith. Like it was always important to me to get to the most pointed, to edit. That's what you do as a writer. You edit. Well, that's not what I do in real life. So when I wrote this thing, I try to write. You always write from the top of your intelligence, and I perform this show from the top of my intelligence, but it's also from the top of my head. So sometimes it gears into, areas that I probably wouldn't write about or talk about. Why the fuck am I telling you this? You don't care. Nobody cares. The point is, when I'm trying to be, when I talk, I'm glib and I can talk off the top of my head, and I think I'm funnier. When I write, I can write really pointed material that is very funny, but I don't know if it's as gut punch funny as I am when I talk. So I'm trying to figure out how to write the way I talk. Got it? Was that worth going back to? No. But now you know. And that's why I need a job. So I put this out there for anybody who's hiring writers. Anybody on Craigslist who's hiring writers for exposure. As I've been chasing that fucking dragon forever and ever. But yeah, I need a gig. I can't even, I don't know. I just did 2 voiceover auditions before we started here, and I had to do them before I started because by the end of this my voice will be shot, and then I'll never get a fucking job. Here, I'll tell you this. Why don't I tell you this real quick, folks? Here's another reason why Lily's in the room. She diagnosed my illness. I had another illness that I was not telling you guys about. It reared its ugly head in Philadelphia. After I did the show in Philadelphia, I hung out afterwards, and I felt something was wrong with my jaw, and I couldn't move my jaw. And when I say couldn't move, I mean I could talk, but I couldn't open my mouth. Look, who needs to open their mouth? Let's be honest. Nobody. I mean, I could open it, but not wide. Like if I was eating an apple in Philadelphia, that would have fallen apart. Right? After my shows, I could not eat an apple. There you go. So if you're bringing me a gift, make sure it's not an apple. But in Philadelphia, I noticed that I was having trouble opening my mouth. I could talk, as a normal person, but then when maybe, you know what? I don't know if that's picking up. My jaw clicks, heavily. And when I talk for a long time, I can't open my mouth. It happened in Philadelphia, and then it happened in New York. I was out at dinner after the show. I was with David and his wife and Sarah J. from Philadelphia, and we were sitting there, and I had ordered sushi. And the sushi roll, sushi rolls are a certain size. I started to eat, and I went to open my mouth, and I could not open my mouth to fit sushi into my mouth. I had to turn the sushi on its side, and I turned my head away from the table and kind of stuff it into my mouth because you had chopsticks or whatever. But I also didn't want anybody to see me making this huge rice mess of just jamming. It looked like when you put meat in a meat grinder and you're just shoving it down. I was trying to just get it in my mouth and because I couldn't get my teeth open wide enough. So I actually had to put it to my mouth and sideways and break it up with my tongue on the way in like a bird or something. I had to eat like a bird. It was so ridiculous and I felt awful. And I'm going, what the fuck happened to my mouth? This seems weird. But I didn't know at the time. And then when I came here and I did the story the week after, I did the New York podcast, which was almost, it was 2 hours and 50 minutes or something like that. And afterwards, I was sitting here with Lily, and I go, I can't open my mouth. She's like, what? And I had her put her hand on my jaw, and when I open my jaw, it clicks. She goes, you have TMJ. And I'm like, no, I don't have TMJ. It's just from talking. She goes, yeah, you have TMJ because that's what happens. It flares up because she has it. She has a clicking jaw, and it's all fucked up. Of course, she got hers in a much more entertaining and interesting way. I got mine from talking and from the car accident I was in last year. Which I've told you about. That's a loose end I need to tie up. I didn't really tell the rest of that story. All I got to was I got home. But now, because now I geared myself up to go in a completely different direction. But now do I talk about that? I should talk about that. There's really nothing more to talk about. I mean, I'm alive. I mean, how weird could the story be? You know what I mean? It's you guys know the eventual outcome. I mean, I'm alive. I'm breathing. There you go. Everything's fine. There's no. Was there any? All right, I'll tell you this part of it. All right, I had to go into therapy after I had the car accident. The car was totaled. Karen tore a rotator cuff. She couldn't drive for months and months. And so I was the guy driving everyone everywhere. And I talked about that on here too, I think. but we had to go to therapy 3 times a week, so we just schedule our appointments together. And I had this woman. What the hell was her name? They had different women there who did it, and I always rooted for this one girl because she was fucking awesome when she gave a massage. Because what I would have to do is I have to go in, lay face down, and then they'd give you an oil massage, and then on your back, my lower back, and the rest of my back and shoulders, because my neck was all fucked up. And they also had to, after that, they hooked up electrodes to me and put like a triple hot compress on my back, like covered me with hot towels, and it's heat therapy as well as massages, which is great. But all right, I'll share this with you. I'm not a good massage guy. I mean, I am a good massage guy because I really enjoy them, but I'm not a good massage guy because I really enjoy them. That'll tell you a little bit more about me than I think you should want to know. But I mean, I'm sorry if there's a woman's hands and oil involved. Someone's coming to visit. So we're there. I'm on, and it would happen every time. But the good news is I'm face down every single time, so that's not a problem. So then I go in, and I like after a couple weeks, this she's really nice, and again, it was nothing. It just happens. Look, your cock has a mind of its own. All right, he doesn't know that it's just a nurse. He has no idea that you're not getting ready for a rampage. He has no fucking clue. He's just there. He's like, you know what, I'm here, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what's happening now? Like his alarm went off and he shows up, and so she's in nurse clothes and she's telling me about her 5 kids. I mean, it's not but she was semi-attractive, but it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. Her hands were really good looking. That's all that matters at that point. It's hands and oil. So again, and every time I'm there, it's like face down, electrodes, all that stuff, and then about a month in, I go in and I get the electrodes and the oil, and she goes, "Hey, we're doing another thing too, so you got to turn over." And I said, "What?" And she's like, "Well, turn over because they want us to do a thing where we manipulate your legs, stretch your legs to help stretch your lower back," which I've actually had done by my personal trainer when I was in the gym, but I didn't know that they were gonna fucking do it. And so I'm like, oh, all right. And so I got to turn around with a fucking hard on and lay on my back. And, to her credit, it said nothing. Never, you know what I mean? I said nothing, of course. What am I going to say? I felt like making every awkward joke in the fucking world, but you can't. And I think she just realizes, well, that happens, I guess. Or maybe it's compliments to the chef. Maybe she, maybe she just takes it as a little hat tip. You know what I mean? And which works out fine because my cock was wearing a fedora that day. But yeah, so I got to turn around with the fucking hard. So that was embarrassing as fuck. So I got to turn around with a hard on. I'm just laying there, and then she's like, "I'll be back," and then she splits, and I'm laying there with a goddamn hard on, and I'm wondering, is she going out to tell everybody that I have a hard on in the office? But then she came back in, and she had to have it like a towel, and she threw the towel over me and over that area. So I don't know if she was like offended because she was like a Christian chick. She talked about going to church and all that stuff. So maybe she just didn't want to be in the same room. But I got news for you: every day you're in the same room with my cock. I mean, I don't know. Covering him with a towel doesn't do anything. Maybe he can't see you anymore, but he can still sense your presence. And especially because I think maybe it's because I was wearing shorts and she knew she was going to bend my leg up and she didn't need him, coming out the side and saying hello, which I understand. Because that happened to me in the gym too, which I've talked about many times. Well, many times is a stretch. That seems weird. Why would I talk about it many times? Oh, one time my balls were out at the gym. Have I told you that story? Yes. Many times. Please keep that story to yourself. So I would have to go to therapy for that. But then, this is awful. I had to go for my jaw, to get my jaw done. And I told you I went to I got put in the machines. They started to tell me I needed acupuncture. I needed all these different fucking things. And I'm like, fuck all that. Just fix me and let me move on. So I had to go to a different dentist than my dentist. And he took casts of my jaw. And I don't even know why I'm going to tell you this. I have to, just because it's fucking ridiculous. When I walked in, I saw this guy. And I wanted to be him. He looked like Einstein, like he had kind of a bushy mustache and really nice but gray hair. But he was probably like 52, maybe 55, and he had a successful dentist practice in Bel Air. I mean, he's rich, obviously. And when we walked in, he was eating soup. I'll never forget it. His name was I won't give you his name, but he was a doctor. And Karen and I both, when we looked at him, we were like, he looked elegant. He just looked like a man who had it all. And he was, I was like, I could not wait for this guy to put his fingers in my mouth. So that was how good looking he was. I was just like, and that didn't even good looking. Just, he looked like your rich uncle. Like he was that guy he looked like a guy who'd wear a scarf. Am I expressing this properly? He just looked elegant, like a guy who knew who had it down. Like when he changed out of his scrubs, I'll bet he wore a blazer to dinner. Like that kind of guy. The kind of guy in your head, you're like, oh, that's what a man does. I want to be a man and do that. I don't ever want to wear sweatpants again. I want to be a man who wears like a turtleneck with a blazer over it and talks about books. So that's what he looked like. And he gets into my head and he's digging around in my mouth and he's like, oh yeah, this is bad and this is bad. And so he starts, saying all these different things that are wrong with my jaw. And I go see him a few times and he sends me to UCLA for these x-rays, which I told you about before. And he was a really nice man, extremely elegant. Like I said, this practice in Bel Air. And once my case gets wrapped up, okay, my case got wrapped up in July and there were settlements and there were paperwork we had to sign and all that stuff. And my lawyer calls me and he tells me, oh man, he goes, you should be happy because this dentist, I won't say his name, he goes, he wrote you an amazing report and he was the reason you were able to get what you did from the insurance company. And I said to my lawyer, because I was tired of my lawyer at this point because he kept saying it. Everything he said seemed to have a wink at the end of it. Just like, well, if you guys are having trouble, if your backs are bad, then we'll go ahead and arrange these doctors. Wink. And it's like, no, dude, our backs are fucked up. My wife has a torn rotator cuff. It's like, we need therapy, all right? Nobody's trying to get over here. I mean, my wife's car is destroyed. We just want to get made whole. That's it. Oh, I get it. I understand. Well, no problem. We'll get you guys to therapy right away. Wink. Dude, fucking stop with the winking. All right? Understand that I'm not faking. So every time we would talk to him, it would turn into that. Every time we'd go meet with him, he'd go, well, I heard your back and your jaw are still messed up. That's, that could take years. That could take years to fix. But we'll, don't worry. We'll take care of it as much as we can. Wink. Dude, stop. So finally, the winking stopped when he called me and told me, hey, by the way, this guy that hit you only has this much in his account for car accidents. So that's all you're going to get. He goes, I'm recommending to you. He goes, well, if you want, you could sue him for more, but he will declare bankruptcy and you will get nothing. You won't even get this amount. So what you need to do is go ahead and you should probably just take this. And I said, all right, whatever, tell me what to do. And so I had to go sign paperwork. So I had to go into his office and sign. And he goes, you know what? You really need to thank Dr. Elegant, because he wrote a really detailed review and really made it, sound like your jaw was bad. So if it's not for him, you're probably not getting this amount. And I put the pen down and I looked at my lawyer and I go, my jaw is bad. I mean, you do realize that, right? And he goes, oh yeah, hey, I'm not saying it. I go, no, you are saying. You say it every single time. Whenever I come in here, you always make it sound like I'm faking. Dude, my back was fucked up. My wife's rotator cuff is torn and my jaw is fucked up. I mean, even now it hurts. The only reason I'm stopping therapy is because you're telling me I have to because this guy has no more money. And he's like, oh, hold on, just calm down. I'm just telling you that Dr. Elegant wrote an amazing review. And I go, yes, because he saw my jaw and how fucked up it was. He goes, all right. He goes, yeah, but it's a shame what happened. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, yeah, it's a shame what happened to Dr. Elegant. That's just a tragedy. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, you didn't hear? He goes, oh, unbelievable. This guy, he has a house in Brentwood, and it's raining outside at his house, and there's a leak. A leak opens in his roof above his kitchen. So he calls to get it fixed, but in the meantime, he's going to go up on the roof and fix it in the rain in what I can only assume are very comfortable clothes. They set up a ladder on the garage. He climbs up the ladder. He gets on the roof, and he takes a look at whatever the leak. He does whatever. He puts a tarp on it, and then he goes to climb down the ladder. And his son is holding the ladder, and the ladder in the rain slips on the driveway, and he falls and hits his head on the driveway in front of his son. And this happened in December, I think, November of last year. Still hasn't woken up. Still in a hospital on machines. Had to sell his practice. I mean, like this house of cards completely fell because he fell off a roof. I mean, like he was on a ladder. It was raining. He slipped, hit his head, and everything changed. His wife now has like a blog online where she details that he blinked. I mean, like that kind of fucking thing. And I'm just like, God damn it. And I started going and reading it and checking it out, but I couldn't anymore because it's just so, that's one of the reasons why I stopped street fighting. Or not, well, all right, that sounds stupid. Again, I'm not Mike Muir from fucking Suicidal Tendencies. I'm not street fighting because it was cool. But one of the reasons why I restrained myself from hitting people was because, how many times have you read a story where there's guys fighting and a guy punches a guy, he falls, hits his head on the curb, and dies? And because of a dust up over a drink, some guy's going to jail for 30 years and another guy's dead. It's like Boys in the Hood times fucking 100. That's a lie. 3 people died in Boys in the Hood. That would have to be 300 people died in a street fight to make it Boys in the Hood times 100. God damn it. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said. Boys in the Hood is much worse. It's Boys in the Hood, but only a third. Let's put it that way. Not times, it's a third of Boys in the Hood. Because in Boys in the Hood, 3 people died because a guy stepped on a guy's shoes. And by the way, Boys in the Hood, I fucking sobbed in the theater. Like I couldn't even move. Like I was like huddled over and like crying. It just hit me so fucking hard. It was weird, especially the end. What a brilliant ending. Because I mean, you saw what happened and then the death, and then he talks to Doughboy, and then Doughboy disappears off the porch and the words come up that he got killed. Oh, dude, what the fuck? You can laugh all you want. I was sad. Still sad to this day. It moves me. It affects me. But yeah, this dude fell off a roof and hit his fucking head, and now he's gone. Like, and then I said he had to sell his practice. This guy was, I mean, it was amazing. He had a practice in Bel. I mean, how does that even happen? How do you move that quickly? Who is out there lurking, waiting for a dentist to fall off a ladder so he can buy his practice? That just seems like it happened too fast, right? Shouldn't you shutter the thing and then, because I mean, obviously she knew he wasn't going to be a dentist anymore, I suppose. But it just seems odd that someone was lurking in the shadows to purchase that practice, right? Doesn't that seem strange? I don't know. To me, it did. Who's out there buying up dentists? Who is buying the great dentists of Europe? That's a movie, but not really. I changed the title. Yeah, I did. No, I did. It's not called that. So yeah, but I mean, that was like, so any appetite I had for making the story silly and telling you these long, drawn out things about my dentist appointment, it's like were completely sucked out when I heard the guy bounce his head off the goddamn driveway and is gone. He's finished. He's in fucking Sucker Punch in his head right now, which is not good. The movie or the situation. I gotta be honest with you. If you told me I could see Sucker Punch or I could fall off a ladder and hit my head on a driveway, point me in the direction of the garage, because I'm going up with a tarp and I'll swan dive myself. Fuck the ladder. Get me on the roof and I'll just jump off if you tell me if it's that or Sucker Punch. Holy guaca fucking moly. I saw 10 minutes of that online and went, yep, done. Adios. The fuck happened to Zack Snyder? I say that thinking that he's somebody. He made 300, which I hated. I fucking hated 300. I said it before. I talked about it on Never Not Funny. It was like, I was so looking forward to seeing it, and then I saw that movie, and I was like, oh. And I was laughing out loud at it in the theater, and other people were like, this is fucking awesome. And I'm like, I don't think so. On the way out, I asked the guy, I go, that kind of stunk, right? And this guy's like, no, it was awesome. I'm like, absolutely, it was great. Just ran to my car before I got beat up by 300 guys with their shirts off. Man, what a gay film. All right, so, and then Zack Snyder made Watchmen, which I loved, and the director's cut was even better, but then he made Sucker Punch, and now he's making Superman. By the way, all right, if 300 was gay, has anybody out there seen the new Superman costume? Oh my Christ. Instead of an S, he should just have an arrow pointing to his cock. Honestly. Does everybody think, look, when you watch Superman fight, are you thinking, I wonder what Superman's packing? No, nobody cares what Superman's packing. This isn't the old Batman show with fucking Robin walking around with his cock swinging in your face. Ugh. I noticed that even as a kid. It was just like, really, Robin? Put on some tights. He had tights with your tights. Something, compression shorts, anything. We don't need to see Robin's cock flying around in a fight scene. Not in a fight scene, because Robin rarely was in a fight scene. They always had a stunt double, which was the best part of the 66 Batman series, if you ever watch it. Fucking Batman is fighting, and then when the fight happens, all of a sudden Robin is like a 41-year-old man. It's the greatest thing you'll ever see. They didn't trust Burt Ward to do choreographed fights. Why not? Because he might step on his dick. And then he wrote his book, and in like 9 chapters were about how big his cock was. Burt Ward. All right, so... the fuck was I talking about? I was talking about a guy falling off a roof, and then I got into fucking Batman's or Superman's dick. But it is. Go look at the costume. You think I'm kidding? Because they made a big deal. I think I talked about it on here where they made a big deal where Superman isn't wearing the red underwear. He's like, they made his costume. It's almost all blue. all the way down to the boots. And it's like see-through. Like you can see his abs and shit. Like, dude, why do they fucking monkey with this stuff? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's bad enough that Superman is British. Superman is British, Batman is British, and Spider-Man is fucking British. What the fuck? I don't get it. Fuck you, England. Get your own heroes. Who's Limey Man? We're going to cast a fucking American as Limey Man. It's up, up, and away, not pip, pip, cheerio. Jesus Christ. No American Superman. Maybe they couldn't find a guy with a big enough cock in America because, Jesus Christ, that costume is ridiculous. To the point where I'm actually wondering if, like, his cock is the Phantom Zone in this one. Like, he's going to make people disappear into his codpiece because, Jesus. Bad. Terrible. All right, so. What? Why? What? When you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, well, all right. Big Dick Superman. Fantastic. It's, you know what? It looks like Superman is being played by David Lee Roth from my picture of 1982. Same exact picture from the side. It's like, yeah, okay. Except, David Lee Roth was wearing something much more outlandish than a Superman costume. He's got like 9 scarves tied to his legs, ridiculous boots. All right. No, actually, I think he was wearing like dance shoes, like but with like tape on them. Dave. All right, get ready. I need a job, folks. That's the point. I need a goddamn job. Not just. I mean, look. We all know I protect and serve into the middle of the night. I mean, that's fine. That's what I do. But I need to get something else quickly. Maybe in addition to. Maybe I could do both because I need dough. I need money. I'll spare you. I thought so I go on Craigslist and I'm looking for gigs. And again, nobody pays anything on there, certainly not writing wise. So then I wind up looking at the talent and creative sections. And it's all right, I will tell you this too. There's a category called etc. I am highly qualified for etc., folks. I was trying to figure out what job to get. I'm like, well, etc. Dude, that's fucking me. Absolutely. So you click on etc. and it's first of all, they want you to donate sperm, which I would do, except then I look at it and it's like you got to be like 35, I think was the cutoff. I'm like, my sperm's okay. I got enough of it. I can produce it. You guys can do whatever you want. Put it in a centrifuge, see if it works. They probably don't want to hear this show. That's a good point. I should probably avoid telling them about this show. So there's donating sperm, and then they want people on clinical trials. Like they want people to take pills and stuff. But then you know what? Pay me. I don't give I'll take some shit if you want to pay me. But then you read it and it says up to $750 in credit and travel expenses. The fuck is credit? I don't want a Subway sandwich if you're going to destroy my liver. You got to fucking pay me to destroy my liver. I only got one of them, for Christ's sake. But and then they got like these depression medications and stuff. And I try to figure out, look, all right, we're all depressed. I'm depressed. Everybody's depressed, right? We can all agree with that. To some certain extent, but I mean, not to the point where all of us need to get professional help. If you do, that's what you need to do, which is fine. Whatever. But then they have these clinical trials of medicines, and so in my head, I'm like, well, I'm depressed, but I don't know if I'm depressed enough for that medicine. So I want to make an appointment and go in and be sad. Like I want to pretend to be sad. Like I don't know, but I don't know if they'll see right through it, which they probably will. I could play Rage. If they had a Rage pill, I could go ahead and fucking get that immediately. But depression pill, like and it's always these weird, like, look, aren't there enough of these pills that cure depression, or not cure or fix or help you deal with it or manage it or whatever the fuck? I don't know. I just there's like Prozac and fucking there's millions. A million seems high. Again, now we're back to Boys in the Hood. I don't know, but so the clinical trials. So I want to do these clinical trials, but they never want to pay anything. If they were offering like $4,000, done. Let's go. What do you want? A kneecap? Take it. You know, I don't fucking care. I got 10 fingers. Take a couple of them. Who cares? Sew them on a mouse. Do whatever you got to fucking do. Just pay me, motherfucker. But then when you read it, it's all this gobbledygook about what they could do and they couldn't do and they might have for you. It's like, it's because I guess they figure if people are desperate enough to do a clinical trial and try to make money, that they can fool them with double talk. You're not fooling me, motherfucker. Pay me. But then so that's in the etc. jobs. And then, unfortunately, I go to the talent jobs and then they have extra work. Like all this extra work. Now, look, I don't know if you know this, folks. When you watch a television show, maybe not your sitcoms, but other shows where they have a studio audience, like Tosh.0 and other shows like that. Well, maybe Tosh might not do it because they're a big show. But other shows, well, they pay their audience members. Like I've worked, every show I've ever written on that had a live audience, they paid the audience to come in. And it's grim. I mean, it's just these unwashed people sitting outside, you know, which is what I'm actually considering becoming one of them. That's the problem. But it's only $8 an hour, $8 or $9. It's like, that's nothing. And you sit in a room for 8 hours. So what do you make? $40 a day? And it's your whole day, and you have to do what you're told. Oh, motherfucker. It's a horrible existence. And you're looked down upon by all the crew and the cast, everybody. They're like, oh, those people again. Yes, those people, the lifeblood of your show. The people who have to laugh at the jokes you've written. And you're like, oh, they're not going to laugh. They've been out in the sun all day. Or maybe you didn't write a strong enough joke, dick. That's the crisis I have with myself as I walk a thin line. But now I'm considering like doing extra work, because I've done extra work in the past. I think I talked about it on here where I did. I was in the Boys in the Band. Not the Boys in the Band. It was something else. It was a movie about AIDS. All right, and it was a miniseries. Was that the one with Matthew Modine as the doctor? And it was this incredible cast on HBO. Is that what it was? Yeah, I did that. I was an extra in that. And all I did was I showed up for work, and they made me walk back and forth. I told that story on here. Because extras all think they're in the business. Okay, everybody wants to talk. Everybody has to have a long talk about what they're doing, and I'm getting paged. That's how long ago it was when I was doing it. By the way, people were still getting paged for jobs. But look, dude, you're a chair. You're just a fucking chair with hair. That's it. Chair with hair. That's actually, if you read the clipboard, it says chair with hair, and you're it. It has a picture of you. If one of the stars came over and said, sit down, I'm sitting on you, you would have to. That's who you are. Your background. They call you background for a reason. You know what that reason is? You're in the background. Guess who's in the foreground? Not you. But I mean, it's just the extra work is so terrible because these guys, they all think they're on the periphery of something big. But you can't find much easier work. All right? All it is a waiting game. It's just fucking time ticking away as you sit there and get told what to do. And the band played on. What I had to do, literally, was they would say, all right, action. And I would walk in front of a storefront, and there was, on either side, there was an assistant director on either side of the storefront who would then, physically grab you and turn you around and tell you to go the other way, as if you didn't know how to turn on your own. You would walk, because I guess they didn't want you to keep walking all the way off set and all the way back to your home. They had to wrangle you. They had a fucking background wrangler, because when I got to the end, out of camera shot, they would spin you around silently and push you so you walked the other way. And if that alone doesn't tell you how untalented and how little they think of you, I mean, I don't know what will. They don't even talk to you. They would physically grab you, spin you, and push you so you walked again in front, because it was in silhouette. That was the thing I should tell you. It wasn't like, and the band played on, spared no expense for their cast, but then they had a Hanna-Barbera background where you kept seeing the same background and the same people walking by. That was not the case. It was in silhouette of this storefront. They were filming inside, and they just needed bodies and shadows walking around outside, and that's all I did. I was a fucking shadow walking around, and then the band played on. So not only was the specter of AIDS there, but the shadow of Mike Schmidt was also lurking in that film. So I mean, it's super easy fucking work if you can handle being disrespected. Now, that's the key, because I think if we know anything about me, I'm not really good at being disrespected. I get in my own head because I think I can be an actor. I think I can perform. I want the chance. I aspire to greater things, which I'm sure all extras do. But there's nothing worse than having to subjugate yourself to being a walking silhouette when you think you could be the person in front of the camera. I mean, you should just swallow your pride and go, fuck, this is what I'm doing, and I'm making some money, and that's that. It gets back to writing. Like I mentioned, when I was a writer, I would write, when I've written for shows, and I would write jokes, and I would turn them in, and they would come back with a red pen through them and say, I don't get this. This isn't funny. I don't get this. And it would be infuriating to me. I couldn't fucking let it go. I would be so mad that suits and producers who didn't get a joke that was clearly funny, and if I were to deliver it to them, they would laugh. But when they read it off the paper, it didn't live for them, so they would red pen it and make me do more work, and I couldn't understand it. But as I'm older now and I need a fucking job, I write it and I give it to you, and I do whatever the fuck you want with it. Really, I don't care. Whatever happens, fucking happens, because it's your show. That's the thing I could never get my head around. It was like, because this is my show. Nobody can tell me what the fuck to do on this show, all right? Nobody can write me an email and say it's too long. Nobody can write me an email and say it's too short. Nobody can write me an email and say, oh, you should talk about this. She shouldn't be laughing. Nobody can tell me that, because I can do whatever the fuck I want here. This is my show, and you choose to listen to it, and I appreciate it. Although, this week may be the deal breaker, quite frankly, as this has been one crazy quilt of nothing as I've gone ahead and stitched squares on. This is the AIDS quilt of podcasts. That's what it is. All you got to do is hop around, and eventually you'll find a square that grabs your interest. plenty of different squares with a bunch of different information on them, but some of them might not be for you. I get that. But just devote the time because eventually I'm going to find a square that appeals to you. Oh, man. All right, so now we got AIDS and accidental fucking comas and Jesus Christ, what happened to the show? So as a writer, that's the thing is like I used to turn in shit and I'd be so furious, but then now I've learned, you just give them whatever you give them and they're going to make what they can out of it and be proud of it. That's fine because it's their job or their show and your job. That's the difference. When it's your show and their job, then you can tell them what the fuck to do. But as an extra, it's fucking hard. Again, you should just be able to say, oh, well, this is how I'm living and I'm doing this because it's easy cash. I mean, I should tell you, Boys in the Band or whatever the fuck, or And the Band Played On or whatever, some other show about AIDS. That was I did that back in fucking 1991, I think, or something. It was a long time ago. So, and that was enough to make me go, you know what? I don't think I ever want to be an extra again. I don't ever want to do it. And then when we moved back to town here in 97, I think it was, and then I worked at the Spider-Man hash house, and that lasted a couple days, and I was home after fucking 2 13-hour days on my feet, and I was like, I can't do this. I said, you know what? I'll be an extra. Extra is easy money. I can pull that off. And so then the very next day I went and signed up, and I somehow got basketball out of it. Like it was like this weird miracle that I got basketball. And but I don't want to talk about that today. I'll tell you about that another time, because apparently I'm Peter Falk, and you're my grandson going to bed, and this is the fucking Princess Bride. I don't want to talk about that today. I'll tell you about that another time. Now tuck yourselves in, idiot. This isn't a fucking fireside chat. It's a goddamn podcast. What is wrong with you? Because my head is in that era, and I'll tell you why. All right, when I did And the Band Played On, that was like I said, it was 89, 90, whatever the fuck, and it was a way to make extra, easy money. So that was a horrible extra job, and I said I would never do extra work again. And now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, then why the fuck did you do basketball? Why did you decide to do extra work? Well, because it's easy money, but also I had an experience in between And the Band Played On and basketball that led me to realize that maybe being an extra wouldn't be so bad. You should make the situation what you can, and you can actually make it fun. Don't get sucked into the idiots, and don't get sucked into the ADs, and don't get sucked into being treated like a dick. All right? Just go there and make it what you want it to be. And obviously when they tell you to do shit, you got to do it, but who cares? Make the most of the experience. Here's what happened. The shit hit the fan when I was living in California, and I was living with a woman, and that went poorly, and I had to leave. By year 2, I think it's on there. So I had to go back literally to my parents' house. And this is at the age of, I was 24, 25. And it was a huge, huge fall for me. Because I don't know if I told you folks, I had been carving out a nice little niche for myself, walking back and forth in front of storefronts in movies. Holy shit. With a career like that, how could I have ever let it evaporate and have to go back to Chicago? No, but truth be told, I was actually doing pretty well in stand-up, where I was doing stand-up, getting noticed, and I actually had an audition for Evening at the Improv and killed it, crushed it, and then acted like an asshole when I walked off stage to a potential manager. I told that story on here, right? When terrible. And then they passed on me because I did topical material. And I was frozen. Like, I didn't know what the fuck to do. I had no money. I didn't know what was going on. My car died. I had no choice. I literally, this is after working in Hollywood and having Warren Beatty tell me I was funny. I mean, like, it was that kind of thing. I had to go back home to Illinois. Not even to Chicago. If I moved to the city, maybe it's different. I immerse myself back into comedy and I go ahead and do all. No, folks. That's not what I could do. I had to go back to Coal City, Illinois, where my mom lived, and I had to live with my mom at the age of 24. Which, man, that's a blow. That's a death blow. All right, I didn't want to live with my mom when I was 14. But then to go back when I was 24, it just screamed of desperation because that's what it was. That's all I had. So I had to go back, because my friends had moved on. They had lives and colleges and jobs. I couldn't just go crash on somebody's couch. I guess I could have, but I didn't even ask because I knew I could go home, but I hated it. But I had to. But making the situation worse was I was home I had to move back into my mom's house. Well, it just so happened 2 of my other brothers had also fallen on hard times. and did not have the comfort of assistant directors shoving them into the camera to turn to. And so they were also living at my mom's house. So you got me, 24. You got my other brother, you know, they're 20, 22 and 20, I think. And we have to move back in with my mom and my stepdad. Okay. Now, I didn't have a car. And my brother Andy had a car. He had this big yellow Lincoln, like this huge, and it was like not a good yellow. And believe me, if I say not a good yellow, that says something, because there are really no good yellows. I guess it's really something I shouldn't have said, but yet not a good yellow, like like kind of light yellow. Oh God, like the color of lemon cream in a pie, like that. It was just grim. It looked like if you left a banana in the sun and it baked half the yellow out of the skin. I mean, with no brown. Banana's a terrible analogy. Banana would go brown immediately in the sun. I wish this car would have gone brown in the sun. But it was this nasty, like kind of light yellow, awful, like cream and a fucking rag top. So he had the only car, and it's Coal City. I mean, you know, at the time, now it's a growing metropolis. But back then, they actually had to change the population sign when me and my brothers moved back. I mean, it was like that fucking rinky-dink. Here's Coal City. 5 years after, you know, this situation, they built a McDonald's. And it was a huge deal because it was right down in the center of town, a McDonald's. And so all the kids could hang out somewhere. You normally, if you would have had to drive 25 miles to get to the McDonald's in Morris. I mean, this is just hell. All right, it's hell on earth. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's changing now. It's again, a hustling burg, but back then, awful. So think about that. I'm coming from Hollywood and doing stand-up all the time. And I have to go live with my mom, and then and my brothers are there, and my stepdad. We have no jobs. We have no money. Only my brother has a car. And we're all kind of licking our wounds, so we're not doing anything except sitting around the house. I mean, there's nothing for us to do. There's nowhere. The only jobs, because they didn't even have the McDonald's to apply at. The only thing they had was they had a couple of convenience store, like gas stations, because it was a rest stop. That's all this place was. It was a blip on the highway. So we started living there, and it was fine. We all hoped to get back on our feet. And I actually, here's what I was doing, folks. This will tell you how pathetic my life was. I was sending jokes to Jay Leno. I was faxing jokes to Jay Leno, but I was writing them out in longhand. I couldn't even type them. We had no computer. We had no typewriter. And so I would get up in the morning and I would have to write. And again, it's because I was 2 hours ahead, so I would have to get them in by a certain time. And I would read the papers and I would handwrite jokes in longhand and fax them to Big Dog. I mean, it was my only tenuous connection to show business, and I made myself do it. So we would stay up all night and we would just play Genghis Khan on fucking Sega, or not Sega, Nintendo, actual Nintendo. And we would listen to Pearl Jam and music all night. And, we did that for weeks. We would stay up and we just licked our wounds, and we had no money, and we were eating my stepdad's food and living in my stepdad's house. Meanwhile, my stepdad was a foreman in a nuclear plant who had to get up every morning at 4:30 and then take a shower, come downstairs, make some coffee, fill his thermos, and go to work. As his 3 deadbeat stepkids played Genghis Khan on the Nintendo in the living room and said goodbye. And he tolerated it for a little while, but then he started to get quiet. Like he would come downstairs and we could see, we knew, okay? But at the same time, what else were we going to do? In my head, I was like, well, I'm kind of a man here. Like, I don't want to have to subjugate myself. Again, we all know that, folks. I don't like doing that. He was now the assistant director. He was making me put on a blazer and he was spinning me around and pushing me off into the real world. Okay? But I was refusing to let it happen. My stepdad was not going to get that over on me. So his size and his mean looks and his silence was not going to force my hand until it fucking did, because we couldn't handle it anymore. So what we would do is we would play until we heard the shower go on. And then we would repair to our neutral corners. We would, into our individual couches and basements. And we would pretend to be asleep like children while we heard him walk around and make his coffee. And then when we heard his truck go and the garage door close, we would get up and we would finish playing Genghis for another couple of hours. Because we had nothing. We were frozen in time. We didn't have any, we had aspirations, but we were so beaten down by what had happened. Like all of us were depressed. We hated our situation. So the only solace we had was, again, we would play Pearl Jam and we would watch fucking Genghis. Finally, we started to hide when my stepdad would come home from work. We would know he was going to be home around 5 o'clock. So at 4:30 again, our life was lived in these increments between 4:30. But when 4:30 came in the morning, we knew that we had to lay down and pretend we were asleep. When 4:30 came in the afternoon, my brothers and I would leave, and we would go to the local school and play basketball, just so we didn't have to be in the house when he walked in from work and looked at us askance. Because we couldn't stand it. We weren't blaming him. I completely understood why he was upset. Jesus Christ, this is a long-ass explanation, right? Am I getting it? There's nothing funny about this at all. I guess I'm just sort of touching base and kind of laying the groundwork for what's going on. Fuck it. I'll cut to the chase. So whatever. The point is the house was full of tension and we hated it. So we were looking for anything to get out of the house. I was looking for a job. My brothers were looking for jobs. So then I was reading the paper one day, and it turned out that the movie Hoffa, directed by Danny DeVito, was going to be filming in Chicago. Now I should tell you this. When I came back to my mom's, one of the first things I did was I signed up with extras agencies in the city of Chicago, just in case they needed anybody for a commercial. I mean, I hated it. I fucking hated being an extra. And it was in the city of Chicago, which is 65 miles from my mom's house. And I have no car. Like, I have no chance of this happening. Okay. But it didn't matter. It was the first thing I signed up for because I went just in case something happens. There's a commercial. It's, again, a tenuous connection to show business, something I know I can do and something that's easy. So you're looking at are we okay? Okay, I'm a little worried about the crapshoot with the fucking computer. Okay, man, there's no funny here. Really, this is now that I think about it. I mean, I'm just laying groundwork, and now you guys are all like now looking at your iPod vagina, going, "No, keep talking." I get that, but in my own head, I you know me, I know when I overtalk, and I can't set this scene strong enough for you about how tense it was and how horrible it was. So I had signed up with the extras agencies. And so I look in the paper, they said Hoffa was coming to film in town, and they needed extras. And they needed a lot of them for these big crowd scenes. So I was like, well, fuck, I can do that. But I don't have a car. How the fuck do I get to Chicago? So I told my two brothers, I was like, look, here's the plan. You guys sign up for these extras agencies, okay? And somehow, if one of us gets called, even if one of us is working, the other two of us will tag along just to fucking hang out and just get out of the house. It's something to get us away from this fucking tomb that we live in, presided over by my fucking stepdad in his Grim Reaper robe and scythe as he stares at us waiting for us to fuck up so he can yell at us. And again, I'm betraying him as a bad guy. He's not a bad guy, okay? He's just in a situation that he has no fucking control over and he can't understand it because he's got 3 fucking fat kids sitting in his house. So Andy and Glenn sign up for the agency, and sure enough, 4 days later, Andy gets a call, and they picked his name out, and they wanted him to come and work the Hoffa thing, and he's like, yeah, okay, and he goes, you're looking for a lot of people, right? And they go, yeah, we're calling people on their availabilities. He goes, well, could you use 2 more guys? Because I've got 2 guys who I think are signed up with your agency, and I know that they're available. And they go, what are their names? And they look us up, and he says, yeah, they're my brothers, and it would actually work. We can come together. And they said, nah, that's probably not going to work out. Just we need you, and that's going to be fine. And he said, oh, okay. Hangs up the phone, and we're like, what the fuck? What happened? What happened? He goes, dude, they told us that they don't need you guys. And Glenn and I are like, what? And he goes, yeah, they said it's a crowd scene, but they only needed me. And which was infuriating because I'm in the goddamn business. What the fuck? I was the first guy. I'm the original extra. Don't you know of my history of walking back and forth in front of a building? God damn it, I'm the most talented shadow you'll ever cast. So we were stunned. So we were like, well, fuck it. We're still going to go with you, dude. I mean, we're going to tag along. And he's like, yeah, fine. Because I don't know where it is. So we tag along with Andy. It's in 2 days. The filming's in 2 days. So we tell my mom, we're all excited, we're ready to go. And then they call Andy and they tell him, they go, hey, what do you look like? Are you, because he didn't have any, those two didn't have Polaroids on, in the office because they signed up over the phone. And he described himself and they go, well, are you willing to cut your hair or do you have a mustache? And He's like, yeah, I'll cut my hair. I don't care. And they're like, all right, well, yeah, come on in. So we went in early the day he was supposed to shoot because he was going to get a haircut. So we walked in with him and we just breezed in, said we were extras, but nobody, because again, I will tell you this too. If you ever stumble onto a big crowd scene, with extras and they're filming and stuff like that, you could just come on. I mean, nobody cares. As long as you're not going to act the fool, you can fucking hang out all day because there's so many bodies to keep track of. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Just don't make yourself conspicuous. Just go ahead and try to fucking blend in. So Glenn and I were just happy to go and hang out. For Glenn, also the novelty of being on a movie set, I think, was there. But at the same time, I was just happy to be, there's fucking, free food and you can stay away from everybody. In my mom's house, I'm fine. So we go down, Andy goes to get a haircut, and we get there, and all right, they were looking for people who looked like dock workers. All right, because that was the thing, is there was a union strike and these guys were sleeping out, and eventually there was going to be a confrontation with strikebreakers. So they just needed a ton of bodies to look like strikers and guys from the 40s. So we show up, and another cool thing about a huge crowd scene like that with a movie, certainly a period piece, you're walking into 1948 or whatever the fuck it is, because we walk in the room, and this big waiting lunchroom, and all these dudes are in pea coats with fucking 1940s, 20s, 30s haircuts, and nursing hot cups of coffee. I mean, it looked like we had been transported back to a garment workers strike. I mean, it was fucking amazing. So Glenn and I are wearing regular clothes, so we didn't really fit in. So we're just trying to lay low. We're with Andy, and he had to go get his haircut. They started calling them alphabetically, and it was like the military. They had 4 barbers with 4 chairs and a huge line, and you had to get in line. And then they cut your hair in the style of the times, which was essentially, I have it now, although it's too long now, but it's that Boardwalk Empire hair where it's like long on top and it's shaved high and tight all the way around the sides. So Andy went ahead and got that cut, and I got to tell you, Andy looked fucking great. I mean, he wore that cut really well because he was thin, so it looked good on him. And then Glenn and I are just like, man, we're looking around at the dregs of humanity, wondering why the fuck they didn't sign us up. We're like, we could be making money, not just hanging out here eating free bagels and bananas. That's what they had, by the way. They had free food for any crowd scene. I learned this in basketball too. It was the most amazing thing. It made me laugh because basketball was 10 years later, and I showed up and piles of bagels and bananas. That was what they had for the extras to eat. Bagels and literally just, you could eat them or you could pretend fuck with them. Like make that weird, like put the banana in the bagel. I guess it was just to entertain yourself, while away the hours by having a banana fuck a bagel. I don't know, before you ate it. But that's what they had piles of bagels and bananas and fruit. Like, I guess fruit was cheap. I don't know if they were busted in from somebody's fucking tree. Who knows? So we sit around all day. We're there for, and all the shooting was at night. That was pretty cool too, because we were there overnight and they never used Andy. He never got out of the lunchroom. We just hung out there and read the paper and fucking hung out, checked Bulls scores, did nothing. And then finally he got sent home. So, and when he was checking out, he had to, you got to sign your paperwork, and he's like, do I come back tomorrow? They're like, no, we'll call you if we need you again. And they were supposed to be filming for like 3 weeks. I'm like, really? You got 1 day out of this? Look at all the people that are around here. Why the fuck wouldn't they need you? So we go back to Coal City and, lay low, sleep during the day while my fucking stepdad is gone. And, my mom finally wakes Andy up and she goes, hey, you got a phone call. And it was the extras agency. And they were calling Andy and they told him that they needed him again in 2 days, which was awesome. And he's like, hey, do you need anybody else? And they're like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I have 2 brothers, same song and dance. And they're like, they look us up and they go, nah, we're fine. He hangs up. We're like, God damn it. So then an hour later, the phone rings and it's the extras agency and they're calling Glenn. And Glenn gets on the phone and they tell him that they need him and they ask him what he looks like, would he need like a haircut? And same thing, they need him in 2 days. And he's like, oh, well, do you guys need anybody else? Because, I'm going to go with my brother and I have another guy. And they're like, nah, we're okay. Probably just you is fine. He's like, okay. And he hangs up. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now I'm in the fucking business. How the fuck did you 2 get cast, goddammit? And I'm not cast? What the fuck? They even have a Polaroid of me. They have a Polaroid of me. They know what I look like. Fuck. God, I don't look like a guy from the 40s. Why can't I look like a guy from the 40s? Fuck. So I'm pissed off. They're cast. I'm furious. But I'm like, well, I'm tagging along with you guys anyway. And later on that afternoon, the phone rings. They're calling for me. Hey, we want to know if you're available in 2 days to come and work on Hoffa. I'm like, absolutely I am. What took you so long? I'm in the goddamn business. So sure, I go, great, I'm in. And they go, will you want a haircut? I go, yeah, that's fine, whatever you got. I'll take anything you got. So we go down 2 days from then, and we drive. And I should tell you also, Andy got to pick clothes out when he was there, and he tried to like hide them so he would have them the next time he came back, if he came back. And so we had to get fitted. We had to find clothes. And they told us what to wear. They said, wear, like work boots and jeans, but then we're going to give you shirts and peacoats and whatever the fuck. And but it's awesome. I will tell you that part kind of feels like you're in show business. Because when I was doing it, when I did Boys in the Band, I'm literally walking in a circle and getting shoved. But here, I'm getting a haircut. I'm getting picked out for clothes. I'm getting sized. It felt like I was really doing something. So they did. They cut our hair. We all three of us had the same fucking, that weird, Boardwalk Empire kind of bowl cut. And we just went to the lunchroom. And we're hanging out. And I got to tell you something. Being an extra sucks, all right? If you're there and you have to listen to the extras and they talk their nonsense and they say a bunch of bullshit, because very rarely do you have a kindred spirit that you can turn to and go, this is fucking horrible, right? And then they go, yeah, what's with these assholes? They all think they're in the business, okay? Well, because I'm dealing with pretentious actors who are extras because they all think that they're actors and they're performing a service, as I told you. But at Hoffa, I'm at the table with two fucking degenerates like myself who don't give a fuck about the business and don't care about being famous or don't care about acting. They're just there to get away from their stepdad. So it's so great to be able to look at them and go, look at these pretentious fucks. And they're like, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with these idiots? They're just happy to have free bagels and bananas. Literally, my brothers would have come there for bagels and bananas. They have no aspirations about being on camera, and none of us do. We just wanted to get away from our stepdad. We're not trying to be famous. Everybody else in the fucking room thinks that they're going to be famous. So they're all there and they're pretentiously talking about acting and they're in plays and they're doing all these things. And my brothers and I are just like, ha ha ha, still fucking idiots. Like, we hated them so much. So we go outside to film. And the best part is we go outside and we finally get out of the lunchroom because we've been in the lunchroom. Andy's been in the lunchroom the whole time. They bring us out onto the set. And it is down at the Mercantile Exchange, the old Mercantile Exchange in Chicago, where there's a huge courtyard. And you can overlook it from a building, and they've set fires and garbage cans, and they've got a tent city set up. It looks like strikers in the 40s lived there, and that's they're protesting this job, and it just looked amazing. It really looked great. So we walk outside, and we're like, this is fucking fantastic. So they keep doing these scenes, and I should tell you, there's a clique of dudes who are kind of running things, sort of. Let me explain it better. The ADs, there's like 5 of them because it's such a huge undertaking to control that big of a crowd. So they tend to focus on other things. And what they started to do is they found there was a guy. All right, his name was Rocky. All right. I have no idea if that was his real fucking name, but that was the name he gave. And he looked like a Rocky. All right. He looked like he should be lifting weights at a 1920 circus. Okay. That fucking bald head and that huge fucking mustache. He was a dick. And he was acting as if he was the foreman for all of the striking workers. Like he was a method actor of some sort because he got in tight with the assistant directors because of his look. I will tell you, his look was amazing. He was buff and chiseled and he was about 6'4" and bald. He was very striking looking. And he somehow, the ADs gravitated to him and he gravitated to them. And so they would tell him what to tell us. And he would come out to the extras and he would like try to whip us into shape like he was our boss, which was fine for other extras. But for me and my degenerate brothers, we would just laugh in his face because we're like, dude, you have no fucking clout here. You're me. You're just me, but bald with a mustache. Don't fucking try to tell me what to do. So inevitably he would come out and he would be like, listen up, fellas. And he'd like clap. All right, I need you to be quiet. And we'd be like, ha ha ha, dude, I'm not being quiet for you. And we would just keep talking. Like it was just because I couldn't understand why he thought that he fucking ran the joint. Well, and that's a lie, actually. I know why he thought he ran the joint because the ADs gave him that power. But I mean, I barely listen to the fucking ADs. I'm not going to listen to this guy. So I will tell you this. You know what? It was very much like prison. All right. I know that sounds weird, but it was a bunch of dudes institutionalized in one spot for a long period of time together. And so cliques started to form. And when people saw that he had like kind of he did have charisma, I can't lie about it. But when they also saw that he had a little clout, people started to gravitate to him. So he had kind of like a group of dudes who would then walk around and be like, hey, just quiet now. The director's going to be here today. It's just, dude, fuck you, Aryan Nation. I'm not listening to you. Literally, you know who I answer to? My stepdad, and fucking he's not here. I got away from my house so I didn't have to get weird looks and told what to do. Fuck off. So my brothers and I, we became the smartass group. So we would be funny and because my brothers are funny. All right, I will tell you that. My brothers are fucking hysterical. And then couple them with me, all we were doing is the whole thing was a joke. We were just so relieved to be away from our house that we made fun of everything, and we were there, day after day. We went and they started using us. They said, "You come back tomorrow? You come back tomorrow?" We were like, "Yes, yes, absolutely," and then we started filming. So all we would do is we'd be down in the courtyard, and it was so great to film in a crowd scene because you didn't really have anything to do. You just had to mill around. Like they'd be like, "All right, action," and you'd look at each other, and you'd just be and so. I told my brothers a trick. Like, if you ever see people in the background talking, this is a trick on TV. If you ever see them talking in the background but you don't hear them, they can be saying a few things. You're taught these weird acting class things where you can say peas and carrots. You say that over and over. If you look at somebody, you just go peas and carrots, peas and carrots. Oh, fruit cocktail, because it moves your mouth in a way that it looks like you're saying different things. So all you're saying is peas and carrots and fruit cocktail. So I told my brothers that. They thought it was fucking hysterical. So whenever they would say action, we would walk around and we would walk up to strangers and just go, peas and carrots, and walk away because they didn't know what the fuck we were doing. And I'd look at my brother and go, oh, fruit cocktail, whenever that guy would start yelling at us. So then, we did it constantly. Whenever they would say action, we'd walk around and just go, peas and carrots, oh, fruit cocktail, oh, fruit cocktail. We'd try to be mad. We'd bring as much emotion as we possibly could to peas and carrots and fruit cocktail. And they were entertained to no end by the fact of these goofy pansy stories of what it meant to be an actor. Because my brothers work real jobs. Not at the moment. We're playing Genghis Khan till all hours of the night. So there starts to be, we start being funny, and now it turns out we start to get our own clique. All right, well, people kind of want to hang out with us, and they think that we're funny, and we find like-minded people who are funny. So, if we were in prison, we were the slack-jawed, we were probably the smart-mouth transsexuals. That's what we were. You know what I mean? Because there was like tough guys walking around telling you what to do, and then we were the mouthy transsexuals off to the side who were like, I don't think so, child. I mean, peas and carrots. So we're filming and we're muddling around and we're not doing anything big. But then word comes down because DeVito's there. We actually see DeVito, and he actually comes out and gives us pep talks every day, and he's really cool. He's really nice. Danny DeVito's the director, and the star of this movie. Along with John C. Reilly and M. Emmett Walsh, or it might have been J.T. Walsh. I always mix them up. You'll know. Go look it up. It's a Walsh, and he's fucking great, but now he's dead. But John C. Reilly was there before he's John C. Reilly. He was still in Steppenwolf at the time, so it was like he wasn't big time. But I would see him, and I recognized him. Like I know that guy, and I couldn't figure out where. But I who cares? Bottom line. So he's there acting, but also the star of the movie is Jack Nicholson. Okay. And we haven't seen Nicholson. We're there for like a week and we don't see him. But then the second week, we're told that they're going to start filming the big scenes in the tent city, which is a riot. There's a riot scene, and Nicholson's got to be there for that. So they give us this thing. They're like, look, Mr. Nicholson's going to be here, and he's very friendly and he's nice, but don't. And I should tell you, this was in June. The Bulls were playing in the NBA championship against the Lakers. Okay, so this is 91, I think. Yeah. And he's a huge Laker guy, and so he's in town to see the Bulls too, and he's filming, and he tells us he's going to wind up on set. So we're excited. I mean, it's fucking Jack Nicholson. All right, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. It was great to know that he was going to be there. I think it was 91. God, I could be wrong. So they start telling us about the riot scenes, and they start choreographing them, and they tell us there's going to be a truck that blows up. And then there's going to be all these strike breakers going to come running out. It turns into a huge battle. And all you're supposed to do is and they start giving us pep talks about, Mr. Nicholson is going to be, Jack's going to be in the fight, but you can't hit Jack. Nobody hit Jack. Hit each other all you fucking want. And but not crazy hard, but they said make it look real. He goes, guys, I cashed you because you're tough. I cashed you because you look like guys who aren't afraid to handle things. DeVito, he's giving us the speech, and he goes, so I want you to do that. He goes, don't hurt anybody, but don't go too easy on anybody either. And of course everybody malevolently giggles, waiting to punch the guy they hate. So I immediately want to get fucking Rocky. Like I'm like, I got to get to Rocky. Just fucking grab him and throw him. I'm going to take him off his perch. And I tell my brothers, I'm like, we got to get to Rocky. He's like, fuck yeah, we got to get to Rocky. So Rocky's walking around with his boys, and he's got his hands in his coat. And again, it's just like prison. We're organizing a hit. We're going to fucking shiv him. It's great. And we can't wait to get our fucking hands on him in the middle of the fight scene. So they run through a few things of the fight scene at first. And they're like not filming. They're like, all right, we're ready to choreograph it. And everybody places. And we were all the way on one side of the exchange, and everybody else is on the other. It's almost like we ran after a kickoff to meet in the middle and just start fighting. And there's a tent city, and then there's a fire. So, he says action, and we just start running, and I'm looking for Rocky. I got my head on a swivel, and meanwhile, a guy grabs me, and I fucking shirk him off, and I got my two brothers running interference for me, so they're like fucking knocking dudes out, and we're running trying to find Rocky. So I got a 3-man team, and then we see Rocky and his crew. They're all the way over in the corner, and because they're over, of course, where the cameras are. They want to be as close as they can to the camera, and we're trying to get to them, and right when we get to fucking right close to them, they cut, and we fucking have to stop down, and I'm probably 15 feet from him. And I see him, he like stops down, he starts laughing, he's shaking everybody's hand. Hey, fuck you, Rocky. I'm gonna fucking, you're getting shivved. So we have to go all the way back to our other side. And again, they're not filming, it's just rehearsal. So I look at my brothers and I'm like, all right, here's what we got to do. You guys go to the right, and I'm gonna go to the left. But I will, we'll maintain eye contact. But I want you guys clear out that side. And as I come to the left, I'm going to sneak up so that when you come from the front, he'll turn to look at you guys, and I can get him from the back. And look, I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to do to this guy when I get him. I can't really stab him. I can't really fight him. I can't throw him to the ground. I just want to grab him and shove him, toss him around a little bit. Because again, he's 6'4", he's a big dude. So, I'm figuring, well, we'll wrestle. That'll be fun. We'll at least wrestle. Because I hated this fucking guy. I thought he was the king. So, and I fully recognize this is my problem, not his. He's filming a movie. All right? He's ingratiating himself to the producers. I'm there just to hide from my stepdad. So we make this plan. So then they action, and my brothers take off to the right. I come flanking around the left. But I get bogged down in fucking Strikebreakers, who I didn't see initially because I had initially had tunnel vision trying to get to Rocky. So I get caught all the way on the left. I get nowhere even close to him. Not even. I get caught up in a fight. A couple of guys grab me. I'm spinning around. We're all just jostling one another, and then I hear cut. I'm like, fuck. So I look around for my brothers. And I just see, because again, we're all dressed in peacoats and weird berets. Like, we all look like newsboys. But I look across and I see my brother standing there because Andy's like 6'2". And I just see him and he's shrugging, like with his hands in the air, like, what? Where were you? And I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do? So I walk over and he fucking, and I got to admit, it was one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. I see them walking. We walk back to the side and I walk over and I go, dudes, I got caught up in a maelstrom. And my brother Glenn looks at me and goes, fruit cocktail. Yeah, genius. Just fucking yelled at me, fruit cocktail, right in my face. God damn, it's so funny. I laughed my ass off. So they wind up putting us in a fucking group, and I'm like, all right, we got to get to that motherfucking Rocky guy. How are we going to do this? I go, you know what? Should we go flying wedge? Which means the two of them would be in front of me, really clearing dudes, and just on a dead sprint, not even stopping for anything, just pushing guys out of the way and running as hard as we could. And my brother Andy's like, nah, dude, we don't. If we hurt somebody, that's going to be a problem. We can't go flying wedge and start. The guy we want to hurt is him. We can't hurt anybody getting to him. And meanwhile, we've got other guys around us, and they're like, what the fuck? Who are you trying to get to? We're like, we're trying to get to Rocky. And they're like, why? And I go, why not? He's the boss, right? That's the guy we got to get to. And these guys are like, you know what? Yeah, we're on board. So. These dudes who thought we were hilarious, they wind up recruiting themselves to our team. So now we got 5 dudes. All right, it's me, my 2 brothers, and these 2 dudes. And we're like, all right, we tried initially to separate, and that didn't work. We don't want to go flying wedge. My brother thinks we're going to hurt people. So what do you guys think? And then this guy's like, dude, we just go 3 and 2. We split up, and again, 3. And his plan was very much like 2 and 1, but with 3 and 2. And he figured that if one guy was fighting people off, we could go ahead and come around the back and get Rocky from the back. And if we're making this plan, we're actually drawing it in the dirt of the Mercantile Exchange. We're like, all right, we got 3 here, and then these guys are here. Just avoid. So meanwhile, there's a milling about, and we don't know what's happening up by Rocky and those guys, and people are, and then all of a sudden people start clapping. And we look, and we go walking, and we see Nicholson. Nicholson shows up, full Hoffa outfit, full makeup. And he's shaking hands, and he's smiling, and he's glad-handing everybody. He's not... Other guys were kind of like, hello, and they were very friendly, but they were very quick to move away. Nicholson throws himself in the middle of everybody. And he's just like, hey, and he's talking, and he's being friendly. And Rocky is there, of course, and Rocky's like, hey, Jack, and he goes to shake his hand, and all these guys are up in the front. And I look at the 2 new recruits, and I look at my brothers, and I'm like, all right, fuck Rocky. We got to get to Nicholson.
Oh my God.
And my brother, and the best part was I'm talking, and my 2 brothers never stop looking at Nicholson. They're just looking, and I look at them, and I can see them still looking straight forward, and I go, fuck Rocky. We got to get to Nicholson. And my 2 brothers, they don't even look at me, and they just go, yeah, we got to get to fucking Nicholson. So we've done all these rehearsals and things like that, and they go, all right, we're going to do more rehearsals, but this time Jack's going to be in the middle of it, but we need to get you guys weapons. So what they gave us sticks and crowbars and bats. they gave it to all the guys, but they were plastic. They weren't real. They were like wiffle bats and almost like with the consistency of a paper towel roll. They were that light, but they looked real. And the crowbars weren't real. It was all, it was all Hollywood bullshit. So we were like, we got to get bats. So we went and grabbed the bats. And the other two guys who were with us are like, well, what are we doing? And I go, we're getting to Nicholson. We'll take the first one to see where they put him, and we'll figure out how we can get to him. So the lights go up, and they put Nicholson in the middle, and they're like, action. So as we go running from one side, the other guys come running from the other, and Nicholson's in the middle, and he is surrounded by stuntmen. There's like 5 or 6 guys around him, so he will be in the middle of the fight. But the stuntmen will protect him so he doesn't get hit. All right. But we don't know that. All right. We just know that he's in the middle. So they're like, action. And we go charging. We go fucking running as hard as we can. We want to get to fucking Nicholson. Well, now everybody in the building wants to get to fucking Nicholson. So they're all running, and it just turns into a big maelstrom, and it doesn't even look like a fight anymore. It's everybody just trying to get to Nicholson, and Nicholson's in the middle of it. So they cut. And DeVito comes out, and he's on the bullhorn, and he's like, look, guys, you're not running to Jack. All right. You're still fighting. There's a huge fight going on. But just in whatever incidentally happens, he's there in the middle of it. He's fighting as well. He'll be fighting the stuntmen. You guys will be fighting, and you guys can get close. That's fine. It's still a fight. But we need to tell you this. I don't think I made this clear. Nobody hit Jack. And everybody starts laughing, and even Nicholson laughs, and he goes, "You hear that, boys? Nobody hit Jack." And I can't do the voice, but to hear it in his voice would be fucking fantastic. And DeVito's like, yeah. He goes, I didn't say that enough. He goes, you get close, that's fine. There's jostling. He goes, but you got those bats and those sticks. He goes, first of all, don't hit each other hard either. But nobody hits Jack. All right. Nobody puts their hands on Jack. He's there. You can jostle him. There's pushing, but nobody physically one-on-one engage Jack. So we're like, all right, well, that's fine. And then we go around to the back, and I look at my brothers, and I go, well, we got to get fucking Jack, right? We're going to get him, right? And he goes, just don't hit him, but we'll get to him. And my brother's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And the other two guys are with us. They're like, yeah, we're doing this. So they choreograph it one more time. They say action. We go rushing, and we turn it into the fight, and we're just kind of spinning around, and we get as close as we can to Nicholson, but we're fighting, and he's in the middle of this fight. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at him as I'm fighting. I'm throwing guys around. I'm trying to get to the stuntmen, and I'm not getting close because these stuntmen are like pushing people off, and they're fighting and fending them off. It was great, but Nicholson's in the middle of it, and he's got a mean face, like he's fighting, and he's kind of throwing guys, and he's grabbing the stuntmen, but he's also laughing. He keeps laughing every time he doesn't think they're looking or whatever, but he's like laughing out loud. He's having such a good time. It was like, this is what movies should be. He's filming it, and he's loving it. He's loving the fact that there's a fight and there's 1,000 guys trying to get to him, and he's fucking wrestling and all that, and he's having the best. He's laughing his ass off and making a mean face and punching guys. It was great. Cut. And we're all standing there, and we're close to him, but not close enough. And he's laughing. It ends, and he's just laughing out loud. He can't get enough of it. And so they call cut, and they call lunch, because they say, all right, it's lunch for crew and cast, but Demolitions needs to be outside because we have to rehearse the truck. So we don't know what that means, but we're going to go get bagels and bananas. So we go inside, and we're sitting at the table, and it's me and my brothers and these other two guys, and we actually get a pen, and we start to draw a schematic of how to get to Nicholson. Like, we're like, well, it worked. I mean, we got close enough, but we got to figure out a way to penetrate the fucking stuntman wall. And then I should also tell you, by the way, Rocky, he's right there by Nicholson every time. I don't know if his crew cleared it out, so Rocky's literally in the shot with Nicholson. He's almost right next to him every single time. And so we're making this schematic, and we're like, well, fuck, Rocky's there. And we're like, fuck Rocky, we don't care. Let's go and get fucking Nicholson. So we draw the schematic, and we're figuring out different configurations, and we're like, we got the bats, and we got to get as close as we can, but also we don't know what's going to happen with this Demolitions thing. We have no idea because now we're ready to shoot for real. So we go, okay, well, lunch is an hour and a half, and we hear them testing explosions. We don't know what it is. We can't see outside. So then they call action. They make us all go out. Again, it's time to shoot. We get back out. We get in our places. And they bring Nicholson out. And they go, all right, well, this is for real. We're not going to rehearse this one. We've rehearsed enough. So we're going to take one for real. And again, remember the rules. Nobody hits Jack. And we all said it. Like, everybody goes, well, remember the rules? And everybody goes, nobody hits Jack. I should have just said peas and carrots. But so we're off to the side. And I will tell you, after lunch, we lost track of the two new guys. For some reason, they left the team. I think because they realized that when my brothers and I brought out a pen and started to draw a schematic of how to get to Nicholson, We were taking it far too seriously. But the thing is, that's exactly the point. We weren't taking it seriously. We just thought it was so ludicrous and silly that we decided, well, you know what? Let's make this the A-team and make a fucking plan and get this guy. So they kind of drifted off. We saw them still, but they weren't on the team anymore. So they called action. And it just turns into a maelstrom, and it's fucking running and fighting, and there's this huge mob scene, and there's screaming, and there's a new element, too, because they've brought in real actors and stuntmen to fight. So they're in the crowd grabbing guys, and it's like a crazy do-si-do. If someone grabs you, you got to try to shun them, and you got the bat, and you try to hit them. And if someone grabbed you and wouldn't let you go, you were stuck. You had to fight that person. And we were trying to avoid that and just get to fucking Nicholson. So we're trying to get to the middle, and I will tell you this. I took a minute to look around. A guy grabbed me, and we were fighting, and out of the corner of my eye, I look, and off to the side, there's a brick building with a bunch of doors, like garage doors. All of a sudden, I see those doors go up. And when the doors go up at once, all 5 doors go up at once, and fucking cops and strikebreakers pour out of the building with fucking bats and billy clubs. It looked so awesome. It looked real. It looked totally... I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? They're coming to fucking dispense justice. But they were also... They had never been in the rehearsals, or I had never seen them because I was so fucking tunnel vision to try to get Nicholson. But I just happened to get caught into a fight and spun around, and I saw the doors open. I saw these dudes hop out. And as they're hopping out, I'm watching them, and it's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And behind me, boom! A huge fucking explosion. A truck explodes, and I feel the heat on the back of my neck. And I turn around just to see the fireball go into the fucking air. And we start grabbing each other, and Nicholson is there. I don't even get anywhere near him. And they cut, they hit the sirens, and we have to stop. I lose my brothers. I don't even know where they're. I have no idea where they are because in this fight, there were real dudes grabbing you and trying to fucking go at it with you. So I laugh at the guy that I was fighting with, and I shook his hand, and I look over, and the strikebreakers are kind of getting their stuff together, and the demolition guys come back out to look at the car and the truck and the explosion, and then my brother I see them fucking make their way through the mist and the smoke, and they go, we almost got him. And I go, what? And they go, we almost fucking got the Nicholson. Where were you? And I go, some guy grabbed me. And they go, fuck, dude, we found a way. You got to come with us. There's nobody on this side because they're all over by Nicholson. If you go this way, you can flank around to the right. And I'm like, all right, if you guys think so, that's the move. So we all separate. The demolitions guys reset the explosion. They set it all up. It takes about 20 minutes. And they get us ready to go. And I look at my brothers and I go, this is it. We're fucking getting this guy. We are getting Nicholson on this fucking rush. And they're like, yeah, do it. Let's do it. Fucking fruit cocktail. So... they fucking turn it off, and they put the Klieg lights on, and they're like, all right, and action. And my brother goes, this way. And we fucking, so now it's like Vietnam. We're running through people. We're dodging, and people are trying to grab us, but they're not getting to us. And we come all the way around the corner, and we see the huge group of Nicholson. We have to loop around and come around the back. And there's Rocky right by Nicholson. We see their group going, and then all of a sudden, the crush happens. Everybody collapses on my brothers and I, and we get fucking swum out to sea, and we're looking, and we're getting further away. We're trying to get closer. We're trying to fight through. I see the strikebreakers. They come pouring out, and we're trying to get close. And it turns out, oh, by the way, being on the far right side, I'm not that much closer to Nicholson. I am a lot closer to the explosion though, because I got my back to it again, and all of a sudden, boom! And I go, what the fuck? Like I almost fucking screamed, what the fuck? I turn around, and it's in my face. It singed me. Like I could feel how hot it was. It was so crazy. It was just so close. And the fight continues, and I turn around, and Nicholson's getting farther away from me, and my brother, I see Glenn. Glenn's almost at Nicholson. He's right by the fucking maelstrom. I'm like, get him! And fucking they ball cut. God damn it. Glenn almost got him. Andy's gone. I don't know where the fuck he is. And I get singed eyebrows. I don't know what the fuck to do. So I look around. I grab Andy. I go, you okay? And he's like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. I go, Glenn almost got him. He goes, what? Glenn almost got him. And we can't believe it. So we wait there, and then Glenn kind of makes his way through everybody. Like, dude, what did you do? And he goes, I just squeezed through. Nobody grabbed me, and I got super close. I didn't get that close to him, but I go, I saw you. I could see you in the same shot with him. So I mean, you were right there. And now they're filming, so like it's a big deal. Of course, Rocky and his crew all want to get as close as possible because they know Nicholson's going to be on camera. So I grab Glenn and I go, how did you do it? He goes, I fought my way through it. I go, you know what, dude? Fuck schematics. Fuck this strategy bullshit. I mean, it's fun, but we just got to bullmoose this guy. We got to fucking completely bum rush and get through. We'll get to him, right? But the thing is, we don't know how many times they're going to blow the truck up and how many times they're going to film the scene. We have no idea how many takes there are. So we're like, fuck it. We have to get to him. Because now this is like the 4th take. All right. So I go, eventually they're going to stop blowing this car up. So I go, you know what, guys? No fucking strategy. I go, should we stick together or should we go over every man for himself? And Andy goes, well, I think we go down together and try to get there, but then it's every man for himself. Just try to get to him. He goes, but if anybody gets to him, you just got to fucking scream, you got him. And I'm like, that's not good. They're filming, dude. We can't scream, you got him. You do remember they're filming here. I mean, this is all fun and games, but we're not in Jack Nicholson's backyard playing grab ass. This is a goddamn feature film, all right? Take a look in the mirror. You look like a guy from 1940. Act like it. So he starts laughing. We're like, all right. So, when you get to him, just get to him. We'll all get there. So they set up the car again. It's 20 minutes between takes. And it's late, man. It's like 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning. We're filming. And when the sun comes up, we're done. So I'm like, they might not film this again tomorrow. We got to do this. We got to make this fucking happen. So they separate us, and we got our fucking fake bats and sticks. You just grab shit off the ground after the fights. And we're off to the side. And I look at my brother. It was weird. It was like the calm before the storm. It was calm. There were people just milling about. My brothers and I just had this weird, intense look because, again, we weren't there to be movie stars. We didn't give a shit about being on film. We were just looking for a purpose. Okay, we were trying to avoid my stepdad at first, and then we hated everything about our lives, man. We it's so funny to me. The worst part of our day was being together at my mom's house, but the best part of our day was being together at this movie set because we were we could be idiots and we didn't have to worry about stepping on anybody's toes or saying the wrong thing. We forgot about our horrible lives, forgot about how depressed we were. We were fucking coming together and making it happen and having fun as brothers and just as guys because I never really got to hang out with them as older guys. This is the first time I was really experiencing them in their 20s and they were funny. It made me laugh. I was like, these guys are fucking hysterical, which was great. So we looked at each other and we're like, we got to make this fucking happen. This because it's going to get light soon and they're going to stop blowing this shit up. We got to do this. You think that horn's getting recorded? Probably is. You guys hear that? Yeah. It could be my car. Maybe I should investigate. Let's take this on the road. Grab your computer and let's walk downstairs. So we've got our fucking fake bats. We got our pea coats. We got our silly hats. And we're playing dress up, but we got a fucking purpose. For the first time, we're playing dress up, but we got a purpose in our lives. So we're like, fuck this. We got to make this happen. So DeVito comes out. He's got the bullhorn. He's like, all right, guys. He goes, we're going to do it at least one more time. And I look at my brothers. We're like, we got to fucking make this happen. So we get separated, and they get the fucking phalanx of stuntman around fucking around Nicholson, and he's in the middle. And I see Rocky and his crew off to the side, and they're like glad-handing people. They're laughing because apparently he's in charge. And everything I hate is manifesting itself. Everything I hate about career extras. Everything I hate about Hollywood. I can't let you know what I've been defeated by Hollywood already to the point where I had to fucking put my tail between my legs and skulk back to my hometown. I'm in the goddamn business. I am not about to be fucking shamed and put aside by the business in my hometown. All right. When I had to go to Hollywood and I was on Hollywood's home turf, go ahead and kick my ass. I deserve it. But I'll tell you what, on my fucking home turf, Hollywood, you are going down for the goddamn count. Peas and fucking carrots. So I sit there and I look at my brothers and they're like, all right, we're ready to do this. DeVito walks off. He goes up in the crane and they're like, all right, and action. And we fucking sprint. And normally I was just kind of jogging and just trying to get there, but I said, fuck this. I'm sprinting. And other people are kind of just jogging and do-si-doing and fighting, but we sprint. And we get through the first wave, the second wave, and we're getting close. We're getting through the third wave to the fucking eye of the Nicholson. We're like right there by the eye of the Nicholson, and we're getting close. And my brothers are right on my side, and Andy loops around to the back, and we get to him. We get as close as we can to Nicholson, and the stuntmen are there. Now I'm right there, and I see all of a sudden Rocky. Rocky comes along on the other side, and I see my brother Andy, and I think I've got a shot at Nicholson. I'm that close where I'm on my way, and he's right in my sights. But I see Rocky, and I go, you know what? I came here with a job to do, and I can't leave without doing it. So sure enough, I went around to where Rocky was because Rocky's there and he's just like pushing and shoving. And I saw Andy and Glenn, they get as close to the stuntmen as they can. And I go around and I get Rocky and I grab him and I turn him around and I just start fucking shaking him as hard as I can. And he's looking at me like, whoa, and because he wasn't ready for it. He thought he was Nicholson's pal. And he's hanging around by the man. He's like, I'm going to get some FaceTime. Fuck you, buddy. You're lucky I don't put you in a goddamn front face lock. Your face is never going to get seen, you bald motherfucker. I grab him and I start fucking shaking him and I look over and Nicholson is I'm right next to Nicholson and I'm kicking the shit out of this bald guy and I look and I see two hands reach over and grab Nicholson and start shaking him and it's my brother Andy. He's got a handful on Nicholson's fucking coat and he's shaking Nicholson and the stuntmen are fighting everybody else but they don't see Andy. Andy has broken through. I've got Rocky and Andy's got Nicholson and Glenn is just fighting everybody off who's trying to keep us from getting our fucking job done. Glenn is the fucking muscle while the two of us made it through. I'm fucking shaking Rocky. Andy's shaking fucking Nicholson. Nicholson. Stuntmen are pushing guys. Glenn is hitting guys. And fucking crazy sounds. Boom, the fucking truck goes off. I don't even feel the heat because I'm closer to Nicholson than I am to the goddamn truck. Rocky can't even get his bearings. The strike breakers come out. It's a huge fucking battle. I'm shaking Rocky. Andy's shaking fucking Nicholson. I actually make eye contact with Andy and it's like, ha 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 ha. Yeah! We fucking made it happen, goddammit. And I won't let Rocky go. I didn't even give him a chance to grab my coat. I'm shaking him around. He's like, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't know what the fuck is happening. And fucking Andy's got Nicholson. Nicholson's laughing his ass off. Cut, cut, cut. I'm standing there. I let Rocky go. He's fucking dizzy. And he's looking at me. He's like, come on, man. Like he's all pissed off. And his crew is there, but I don't fucking care. I just look at him. I'm laughing. And I turn around. And Nicholson is a foot from me. A foot. A foot. Stuntmen are there. Guys are patting Nicholson on the back. They're all like teasing him about the Lakers. And Andy still got him by like one hand on his coat. And Nicholson starts straightening his coat, and Andy like lets his coat go, and he looks at me, and I look at Nicholson. He turns around, he looks me right in the face, and he's fucking like all disheveled. His hair's fucked up, and his coat is like off because Andy ripped it off his fucking shoulders. And he makes eye contact with me, and he goes, "What do you say, boys?" Right in my face. What do you say, boys? And I go, "We have to say that you are a fucking god, Jack Nicholson." Because he's a foot from me. He's like right in my face. I go, "We have to say that you are a fucking god, Jack Nicholson." And he just looks, and he starts, because he's got that old school haircut, and he's got his disheveled, and he just looks me right in the face. My brother's there, and he just goes, "Beautiful," and fucking slicks his hair back with his hands, and walks right past me, pats me on the shoulder, walks off. Oh, yeah. And then the best part is as he's walking back, the stuntmen are all with him because they escort him. And they're going, "You're a god, Jack. You're a god. You're a god." And he's just laughing, smoothing his hair back. God damn it, awesome. I looked at my brothers. We're just like triumphant, smiling, high-fiving. Yes. High-fiving in the 40s. We invented it. So I look over and there's Rocky, and he's still like kind of screaming. He's still a little groggy, and he gives me like a dirty look. And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, fucking loving war." So, we go off, we repair to our side, and I'm like, "Well, that's it. We're done. We're done." We were ready to go home at that point because I'd gotten Rocky, he'd gotten Nicholson, everything was fine. We had celebrated and come together as brothers. And then they put in the bullhorn, they're like, "All right, we're going to go again." And we wound up going again 4 more times into the night before the sun came up. But my brothers and I had pretty much accomplished everything we had wanted to accomplish. So then we decided we just wanted to make ourselves laugh. So for the first cut, they were like, "Action!" And everybody started running, and my brother Andy just started spinning in a circle. Like in a video game, if your guy gets stuck, Andy just started spinning with the bat like he was running. And so then Glenn and I just walked slow like zombies, like looking for brains, like, we were, and like everybody else is fighting, and we're just like, and Andy's spinning in a circle, just not even moving, just like if your guy got caught on the ice in ColecoVision, spinning, awesome, cut. And we're laughing, dude. So then we go the second time, and now because we're just trying to make each other laugh. That's all we're doing. And so the next one goes, and I just started skipping. Everybody started running, and I started skipping like with a tra-la-la with my arms out, and I skip to the fight, and I don't see my brothers, and I turn around, and my brother Andy is on my brother Glenn's shoulders, and they're just like, like they're the fucking, like 2 guys in an overcoat, and they're ready to fight anybody who shows up. They didn't even leave the position. I skipped, and I turn around, and Andy's on Glenn's shoulders, and they're like, "Rawr, like they're going to chicken fight anybody at the union fucking protest." God damn it. Oh, dude, they topped me at all turns. Fucking hysterical. Oh, made me laugh. And then finally, then they're like, "Action!" the next time, and we just laid down on the ground, and just like we were beaten up, and like the hands out, weapons down. And then for the final one, we didn't know it was the final one, but it turned out for the next one that we did, we just turned on each other. We just decided it was 3 brothers who had had enough. And so we just started fighting one another. We jumped on Andy. We're beating the shit out of him. And everybody else ran past us. And again, all this time, everybody's running toward the middle. We're in the back. We're the only guys there. We never even moved. When he was on his shoulders, I thought I was going to cry. Because I skipped. I thought I won. I skipped. And a tra-la-la. And I turn around. And they're just like shaking their fists. Like a huge Frankenstein guy. God damn it. They're geniuses. So it made me laugh. So that was, and then it was fine. It was cut. We're done. And so we're just waiting to come back the next day. And we go into the room, and I go into wardrobe to dump my wardrobe off, and they're taking everybody's wardrobe, and they had to call your name. So they're yelling people's names, and the guy has to come up and turn in his wardrobe. So then they yelled, Nelson, I won't say the last name, just on the off chance. Let's just say it was, Nelson Baldy, all right? Nelson Baldy, and Rocky walks over with his wardrobe to turn it in. Nelson. So I just start laughing. Like, I'm like, oh, really, dude? Seriously? So I walk outside to my brother's, and I go, you're not going to believe this. I go, fucking Rocky's in there. And they go, did he say something to you? I go, no. But his name is Nelson. And they go, what? And I go, his name is Nelson, and I gave him his full name. They said that, and he turned in his wardrobe. And my brother Andy goes, Nelson? Oh, whiff. And he just starts laughing. So we go to turn in our wardrobe. We're in the room, and Rocky's there putting on his fucking, police uniform. He's dressing like a hard guy, and he's with his crew. And again, his extra crew, by the way. You're as tough as the Jets and the fucking Sharks. You got no right to be tough. It might be like fake prison. You might think you're tough. You might look like a guy, but you're an actor who's getting free bagels and bananas like the fucking rest of us. So we go in to turn in our wardrobe, and Andy and I call our names. We turn it in, and we get dressed. And we go walking out, and we walk past him, and I go, hey, nice meeting you, Nelson. And he looks up at me, and he makes a mean face, and he goes, the name's Rocky. And I go, I heard Nelson. They called Nelson. You turned in your stuff. And he goes, yeah, but to you, I'm Rocky. And my brother Andy goes, whatever, fruit cocktail. And just goes whiff. And we walk out. And the best thing about calling him fruit cocktail, he has no idea why he called him fruit cocktail. It's just insulting enough to sound like it could be something mean, like he was calling him a gay slur, but he wasn't. He was calling him fruit cocktail. Really, literally. You're a can of fruit with cherries in it. That's what you are, pal. But he has no idea. And we split and just laughing the entire way down the fucking stairs. Get to the parking lot, get in the car, look at the clock. 4:30. Back to real life. 4:30, my two brothers and I have to go from one acting job back to the other. You guys can get me at MikeandMikeSchmidtComedy.com. You can be my friend on Facebook at Facebook.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40yearoldboy. You can follow our friend Lily Von Stupp, who produces the show, at Twitter.com/LilyVonStupp or Twitter.com/MNTs. And if you want to write her a personal note and find out how many times I made her mad today, and she gave me a grimace and a look. She just chewed hard candy the entire show, just waiting to fucking get through it. You can write her a personal note at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com.
Zazzle.com/40yearold boy. Please buy all his stuff.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas every Monday night at the 3 clubs on Santa Monica and Vine. That's 10 o'clock p.m. Last show I heard was amazing. I heard it was really fun and exciting. And our friend Lily Von Stupp, who's the producer of this show and the producer of that show, is here to tell us all about the next week's show. Hey, Lily. Are you okay? Were you no longer fighting after what happened earlier?
We weren't fighting at all.
Just making sure. Well, they can't see your face. I saw your mean face. I was like, oh, mean Lily's here.
Mean Lily?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of mean Lily or business
You
Lily.
were just depressed and annoyed briefly. I don't think it was mean.
I don't like it. Have some chocolate. All right. So you have this show that you call the Monday Night Teas, correct?
Yes, I do call it that.
What's coming up this week?
We have the Little Miss Hollywood Burlesque Pageant.
That's this week?
Yes.
Oh, I've been waiting and waiting for that to happen. So this is a theme.
It's a parody of Toddlers and Tiaras.
Terrific. And so every pedophile in the state is going to be at this show.
We're hoping
So
not,
tickets are flying quickly.
because there's no children in the show.
Yeah, well, maybe you say there are.
No.
Maybe you know what? There's plenty of children in the show, so all you pedophiles come on out and buy a ticket. Because then look at your ticket sales go through the roof.
No, it's just girls pretending to be between the ages of 6 and 9.
Well, look at that. That's an even more exclusive fetish. You know what that is? That's a fetish that guys can't get arrested for. Pedophiles are totally into that because then they're like, oh my God, you're pretending to be between 6 and 9, and they'll treat them like that and give them candy and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Yes.
move.
And then we're gonna be like bad parents, like if you've ever watched Toddlers and Tiaras, we get to abuse our children.
I heard there was
fulfill our
one.
dreams.
Yeah, I heard there was one last week where a kid was shaving her grandpa's chest. Did I hear about that? Someone said it was the most horrifying moment in reality TV history. It was like this 6-year-old girl who talks like an adult, a grown-up, and she was shaving her grandfather's chest so he could be in a production that she was doing.
I missed that episode.
Maybe it's not Toddlers and Tiaras. You know what that might have been in? That might have been Shave My Grandpa's Chest,
I think it might have
which is another reality show.
been.
That's a good show. I only fear I'm just upset that I can't ever be on it. All right, so that's the Toddlers and Tiaras show. Are you involved? Are you a toddler, a tiara? What are you?
I'm a tiara. I just sit on the side of the stage waiting to be on someone's head.
Yeah,
No,
like every week.
I am a mother.
Oh, okay, so you're a mean mother.
Yes.
And have you already cast, like, you know who your kid's going to be and all that kind of stuff?
My daughter is the lovely and talented Black Betty.
Oh, Bamba Lamb.
Yes,
Oh, Black
very
Betty.
Excited to be working with her, and my hopes and dreams are all riding on her cheekbones.
Bamba Lamb. All right, well, that's good news. Is she from Birmingham?
No.
All right. So that's the show, the parody of Toddlers and Tiaras. It's called Little Miss Hollywood Burlesque.
Yes, it is.
And that's at the 3 Clubs on Santa Monica and Vine, 10 o'clock on Monday night. Go and check it out. And also, if you're there, go ahead and grab Lily's ass.
Please don't.
Yes, you can. I give you permission. And then when you do it and she looks at you askance, but by the way, if you grab her ass and she looks at you askance, you're the only person that she's going to look askance at. Because so many people grab her ass all night long. She's just like, yeah, this is great. But then if a stranger does it, she's going to give you the askance look. And but I don't care. Grab her right in the askance. That's what I say you do. So remember that. 3 Clubs. 3 Clubs. Santa Monica and Vine. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, first of all, go to Facebook.com/the40-year-old boy and be my friend, be Lily Von Stupp's friend, be David Hernandez's friend. He's the guy who does all the artwork and the music for the show, and he's the best. Remember, on that page, there's a lot of Bring Mike Schmidt to pages where you can bring Mike Schmidt to a certain town. Before I get into that, I will tell you this. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com, you can go to the Joe Business page and go to the Zazzle store where we have mugs and mouse pads and stuff like that for you to buy if you're interested. God knows I'm not. You can also go to tweakedaudio.com/40 and pick up some earbuds or pick up a cock ring watch. They sponsor the show every week, and we appreciate that. So go ahead to visit tweakedaudio.com/40. Thank you to them for sponsoring. There's a link right there on the Joe Business page and also a link to purchase downloads. You can go ahead and buy the download sets for this show. There's year 1, year 2, and year 3. Or there's the Lord of the Schmitty set. Lord of the Schmidt. I apologize. Lord of the Schmidt set. Which includes all 3, the Return of the Schmidts, the Fellowship of the Schmidt, and the 2 Schmitties. All 3 of them for a knockdown price. Go ahead and pick that up and get them downloaded on your computer right this second. If you want to just donate to the show, go ahead to the upper left-hand corner of MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Every single page, there's a little Schmitty there with his pocket out. Click on it. You can donate a single sum to the show, or you can donate multiple sums where you can actually subscribe and donate $2 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, and sign up for a recurring payment. That's great. We appreciate that as well. If you do a one-time donation, I will go ahead and mention you on the show. Last week, hold on, I'm yawning, trying to fight it off. Last week there was a glip in the Matrix, unfortunately, because I forgot the page of stuff, but I have it here. There's a piece of paper, folks. And I can tell you that if you want to make a donation, I will say your name, like people like Daniel N. What? That's right. Daniel N. This is Daniel N.'s 3rd donation to the show. Thank you, Daniel N. I appreciate you making a 3rd donation to the show. Also, people like Alfonso G. That's our good friend Alfonso. He's actually been in my car. I don't think he remembers because I drugged him and threw him in my car. That's what I do with my fans. If you meet me out somewhere, I will drug you and put you in my car and then force you to look at spots that I told stories about. But this is Alfonso G's 2nd donation. What? What's that face?
The Mike Schmidt LA tour. This is where that happened.
You know, I actually thought about that in another context that's coming up that I'll be talking about in a second.
That'd be awesome.
But the thing is, I don't think anybody would care. Like, because I have taken people to spots and said, "Oh, this was this," and I actually filmed in my house, and I go, "This is where the Dracula button was, and this is where I ran away, and where I hit the woman in the chest with the newspaper." And I just, I met with unenthusiasm. So I mean, to me, I'm like, "See, this is where it all really happened in these places." Nobody fucking cares. Nobody cares. So I don't think the Mike Schmidt tour, and plus I can't afford a double-decker bus. So Alfonso G, this was his 2nd donation to the show. We appreciate that, Alfonso G. Larry L, and I will say I know Larry L from my childhood. Larry L is a guy who out of the blue tells me he listens to the show. He donated. He bought I think he bought a Philadelphia and a New York shirt. He's bought mugs and mouse pads. He just keeps throwing money my way and getting in trouble for it from what I hear. Or no, he didn't buy New York. He bought Philadelphia. But he liked the shirt. So yeah, Larry L. I have a story about Larry. He was funny because then he wrote me and he's like, I go, I mentioned you once on the show, I think. And he's like, did you tell this story? And I'm like, no, I didn't. But that's coming. I'll tell that story. Why not? Yeah, Larry L. I'll bore you with it another time. It'll come up. I've talked too long today. And if you guys want to make a one-time donation, and if you want to use me to say your full name on the show, you need to send me a follow-up email, and I will say your full name. People like Brian Lowry. Hey, Brian Lowry, this was your 3rd donation thank you so much for donating as many times as you have and for letting me say your full name because I love syllables. So that's Daniel N. Joseph. Oh, hold on. This is a full name. How did I miss this? Joseph Nickel. Joseph Nickel wants me to say his full name on the show. Thank you, Joseph Nickel. So that's Daniel N., Alfonso G., Larry L., Brian Lowry, Joseph Nickel, and get this, folks. Here, listen to this one now, right now. D.A. Blair donated to the show. Now, here's what D.A. Blair did. D.A. Blair had somehow, through BitTorrent or LimeWire or Napster or, I don't know, Pirate Bay, I don't know, somehow had gotten year 1 and year 2.
Really?
Without me, or gotten them from a friend to some. I'm not going to say, I don't want to go into more detail. But I know D.A. Blair somehow had gotten year 1 and year 2, and then wrote me to tell me how much he loved the show when year 3 went on sale, and then he bought the entire Lord of the Schmidt set because he wanted to pay for what he already had and then acquire year 3. And he told me, he's like, you don't need to send me the links to 1 and 2. That's the only reason I know this, because he's like, I'm doing this because I had gotten them and listened to you and got on board. But I want you to know that I'm paying for the full thing, even though I didn't, I don't need year 1 and year 2. And I said, hey, there's liner notes for the episodes of year 1 and year 2. And he went, I'm good. I don't think it was that bad, but that's fine. So thanks to D.A. Blair for being an honest guy and getting year 1 and 2, but then paying for him after the fact. That was really cool. I appreciate that. And remember, the downloads are on sale. You guys can donate to the show all the time. And I mentioned on Facebook.com/the40year-old boy, there's a lot of pages to bring me to town. There are Bring Mike Schmidt to Kansas City and Bring Mike Schmidt to Minneapolis, Bring Mike Schmidt to Indianapolis. I've mentioned I'm going to be starting a Kickstarter for Boston. And then I'm going to try to get Kickstarter to let me try to start a few other pages. I don't know if I can start all of them at once. That's the thing. I was going to do one big East Coast page, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather do Boston first and kind of see how it works. And maybe I'll go also to Indiegogo. I have no idea. But right now, just know, but hopefully by the end of the week, and I will announce it on Facebook and I'll Twitter it as well, there will be a Kickstarter page for Boston. So you guys can donate money and we can see exactly if I meet my goal and I'm able to come to town. That would be great. You know that I'm coming to many, like I said, there's a lot of cities who want me to come there. I'm going to be in Denver. Remember that the Success is Not an Option tour makes a stop at Denver's Dangerous Theater on September 16th. That's a Friday in 3 weeks. So actually 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. Make sure you get your tickets. Tickets are available now at Brown Paper Tickets. The link is on my Facebook page, or if you just go to brownpapertickets.com and search Mike Schmidt, 40-year-old boy, any of that stuff, it will come up. Success is Not an Option in Denver. Now, right now, that's the only page. Well, actually, right now as I speak, but I can tell you that as you hear this, when it goes into your ear, there will be another page on Brown Paper Tickets for you to buy tickets. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Success is Not an Option tour makes its way to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes. People return emails and make phone calls, and this is what happens. You book dates, ladies and gentlemen. I will be at the Carte Blanche Studios on 5th Street in Milwaukee on November 25th. That's right, the day after Thanksgiving. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, I'll still be Logie from Tryptophan. That's fine. But roll your turkey-filled ass out to the Carte Blanche Studios on 5th Street. And also, by the way, it's Milwaukee, which is close to Chicago. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go and spend Thanksgiving in Chicago. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I just come to town early and I spend Thanksgiving with one of you guys. How awful would that be?
That would be awesome.
No, that would be the worst ever. I come to town, everybody's like, who's that guy? He's a guy from the internet. He's my internet chum, Mike Schmidt. He just came over to join us for some turkey and make fun of all of us and talk about us on stage tomorrow. That's going to be great. Yeah, you know what? This is a bad idea. Bad idea. Even if I thought it was a good idea, you folks are immediately like, that's a bad fucking idea, because I don't need to come to the show the next night in Milwaukee and hear you fucking rampaging on us. But I mean, I would never do that. If you guys were kind enough to have me into your house and serve me all sorts of food, it'd be like the first Thanksgiving, and I'm your fucking Sacagawea. That's right. Was she at the first Thanksgiving? I have no idea. She guided people around. There was some Indian there. You know what? That's who I am. I'm a goddamn Indian. I will show up in a buckskin and I will eat whatever the fuck you got. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Turkey or fucking corn. I don't know what you folks do in Milwaukee. It could just be fucking, like I said, a handful of brats. A fucking turkey stuffed with brats. And I'll go ahead and knock that down.
am just stupid enough to think that when people listen to me and they listen to the show, they should take my honesty and go, oh, wow, how refreshing his unvarnished honesty is. And the fact that he's willing to have a scorched earth policy and have no friends or no fucking future is so refreshing and great. But then they'll say to me, hey, do you need somebody raped with a snake? I go, yes, I do. Done. They'll take care of it for me. Thanks, Snake Rape. Oh, no one listens to show, bro? Wonder why? Wonder why no one listens to show, bro? I don't want to listen to show, bro. Please. Snake Rape, do it, do it, do it, do it.